Chapter 80 Office Building. Perhaps it was because it was about to leave. Or maybe it was because, being really enraged by Wang Min, Zhao Kong uttered words that he had never said before in his entire life. And after his words spread along the air, Zhao Kong also understood that no matter what, he would never be able to come back here again. And Wang Min, who had been poked and prodded in the face with the scandal, at this point, she was already completely out of her mind. However, all of this was to Zhao Kong. It was no longer important. Because he was leaving. Wei Xiao, who was waiting at the company's main entrance, wasn't aware of this comment from his master. Zhao Kong, on the other hand, didn't let Wei Xiao down too much. However, 10 minutes later, Wei Xiao saw the other party again. Ugh! Zhao Kong, who was holding a large cardboard box, just saw Wei Xiao. He couldn't help but sigh. You really scared me when you came today, Wei Xiao said with a faint smile. I'll accompany you back to your home first and send the things back. Zhao Kong left his job and took quite a few things with him. After all, he had worked for so many years. The scattered objects also filled a cardboard box. It was good that Zhao Kong had a car. Wei Xiao accompanied the other party and went back home first. After that, the two of them found a Western restaurant and opened a box. Inside the box, Zhao Kong said with a serious face. Say, you haven't told me yet. What exactly do you want to do? I plan to enter the game industry. Currently, I'm already thinking of ways to contact a few studios. It's estimated that within a few days, the results will come out. Zhao Kong froze upon hearing this. He had thought about the various industries that Wei Xiao would do. But how could he not have expected that Wei Xiao was going to open a game company? But, I don't know anything about games. Zhao Kong was a bit anxious. I just can't figure out the situation even if I go. Why don't you see if there's a shortage of people in the logistics department? In terms of making reports and property, I can still do it. Zhao Kong had already left his job at this moment, and was incredibly concerned about his next job. After all, the family was counting on him. Wei Xiao, however, was quick to comfort. Master, don't be anxious, this is something I've thought about carefully. I intend to acquire 3 studios, and as of now, I've assigned them all. You are managing one of them. Your job is to lead the team and manage them. As for the professional aspect, you can let go and let them do it on their own. If you really don't understand, you can listen to them more. Most importantly, you can rest assured and just do it boldly. If you make a profit, the dividends will be yours. If you lose money, I'll bear it all. Listening to Wei Xiao's words, Zhao Kong found it even harder to accept. How can that be? You're planning to start a company. A game company, that's still a company. If you make it like this, what if you really lose money at that time? I'm just a clerk, how would I know about this? Wei Xiao continued to fool around. Don't worry, master, the general direction is mine to set. Even if something goes wrong, it's my problem. You just manage the people. Of course, if you don't have anything to do in these recent days. When you have time, you can also study the current domestic game market. Other than that, just put your mind at ease. Under Wei Xiao's many persuasions, Zhao Kong finally accepted the job and didn't continue to insist on going to the logistics department. In fact, Wei Xiao had long thought of a candidate for the logistics department. The two of them had a casual chat and gradually began to step into the topic. It was nothing more than the future development of the company, as well as the direction of the game. Although Zhao Kong does not understand the game, but after all, People Herein is a long-time dry logistics work, do things naturally is more rigorous. He put forward a lot of suggestions about the company's development. Wei Xiao is accepted as it is, and said, the future of the company will be managed by them. He will not intervene more. Zhao Kong also gradually accepted the next arrangement during this conversation. It wasn't until after 4 in the afternoon that Wei Xiao said goodbye to Zhao Kong. I'll go contact the studio next, so just rest at home without worry. When you have time, look more on the internet to see how those explosive games operate. And the types of games. The rest, when it's time for me to finish it on my side. We'll contact you again. Zhao Kong was a little hesitant, but he still nodded. Wei Xiao looked at it and immediately laughed. Don't worry, I'll definitely let you start working within a week. All right, with your words, I'm relieved. Hearing this, Zhao Kong finally stopped frowning. Separating from Zhao Kong, Wei Xiao immediately pulled out his cell phone. Finding the Shaoli who had previously sold himself a house. Wei Xiao was planning to open a company next, so naturally, he needed a place. The phone dialed, not 2 seconds later. Shaoli picked up. Hello? Mr. Wei? Hello, it's me. Are you busy right now? Not busy, not busy. Are you up to something? I'm planning to open an office storefront, right here in Magic City. You help me look for it. The location should not be too far away from the city. The area should be around 1,000 square feet, preferably 2 floors. Price is good. On the other end of the phone, Shaoli immediately said excitedly. No problem, Mr. Wei, I'll show you right away. If you're not in a hurry, you can come over to our place. I can take you to see the venue immediately after I've picked it out. That's even better, I'll be right there. Wei Xiao thought about it. If you can, do it for him today. I've been very busy lately, I don't have much time. No problem, as long as you see fit. I'll definitely get it done for you even if I work all night today. Well, then go take a look, I'll be there in a while. Okay, I'll show it to you right now. Hanging up the phone, Wei Xiao contacted Yi Chen again. Are you done with your work yet? Brother, you're a god. I just got in touch with the studio and just hung up. I was about to tell you about it when you called. Wei Xiao was slightly stunned, not expecting Yi Chen to be so efficient. Alright, then you take a cab and come find me. I'll take you to see the company's facade afterward. Gave Yi Chen the address. Wei Xiao directly a car to call the agency. Within a few minutes, Yi Chen also arrived. Brother, in such a hurry? You're not in a hurry? In a hurry, where are we going to see? Wait, let's meet an agent first. Let's see how the place she pushed for us is. Wei Xiao took Yi Chen and went straight to the lobby of the agency. As soon as they entered, Shaoli, who had been waiting there for a long time, greeted them. Mr. Wei, I found 3 places for you. You can take a look. Wei Xiao took the atlas in the other party's hand and flipped through it. Soon, he took a look at an office building that was more pleasing to the eye. What do you think? Wei Xiao handed the atlas to Yi Chen, who was at the side. The Yi Chen of this moment had matured quite a bit, and looked at it carefully for several minutes. Only then did he slowly say, I think it's fine. Wei Xiao smiled faintly. Then let's set off and go see the place. Chapter 81. That's certainly what my father said. Half an hour later. Magic City, Jinshe Road, Industrial Park. Shaoli led the duo, shuttling between the 15th and 16th floors of the office building. 2 floors, almost all 700 square meters up and down. According to the price of 4 yuan m2 day. 1 month, a square meter is 120 RMB, 700 square meters is 84,000. 2 floors, that is 168,000 a month. Wei Xiao led Yi Chen through the empty 2 floors. The more he looked, the more satisfied he became. What do you think? Yi Chen also felt good and smiled. I think it's just fine. It's the price, it's not too fair. Indeed, there were cheap office buildings in Magic City. This location, with such a price, was actually considered high. Wei Xiao did not intend to bargain. But Yi Chen had said so he couldn't afford to keep acting counterintuitively. You contact the leaser and say that this price is expensive. If it can be 150,000 a month, I'll rent it here. It wasn't that Wei Xiao didn't want to buy, but all the office buildings in Magic City were too expensive. The $100 million he had on hand, if he were to buy these 2 floors. It was estimated that it would immediately have to shrink by half. So Wei Xiao could only rent it first. After that, he would find a way to buy it or change the place. Shaoli was also well aware of Wei Zhao's habits and immediately contacted the leaser. Within a few minutes, things were negotiated. Mr. Wei, that side said there's no problem. People will be here in a while, I have the contract with me. I'll be able to finalize this for you today. Shaoli said happily. Trouble you? No trouble, as it should be. Wei Xiao smiled faintly and brought Yi Chen to the lobby to wait up. An office building of more than 700 square feet was actually really big. Wei Xiao even felt that such a large place was simply a waste. However, considering his development afterward, it should be skyrocketing. Wei Xiao didn't care too much. At 6 o'clock, the human boss came. After getting to know Wei Xiao briefly, he signed the contract on the spot. Lease for 1 year, deposit for half a year. Actually, it wasn't quite in line with the rules, but Wei Xiao didn't care too much. Signed it directly too. 7 million, directly delivered on the spot. Following that, Xiaoli sent the boss away with a smile on his face. Wei Xiao, on the other hand, pointed in front of him, at the empty nagging area. Find someone, buy work desks and chairs, green plants, office computers, and whatnot. Nanny at home, hired yet? Hired, January 12,000. The price is okay, after all, our home is big. Yi Chen said with a deep breath. In recent times, everything that has happened is constantly refreshing his 3 views. Afterwards, after the studio is dished up, you'll take 1 team. The remaining 2 teams, I've already found good people. You do a good job, and after that, your future will naturally come. Wei Xiao walked to the glass windowsill and suddenly said. Wait to get this done. I'll take you to Xiao Qing's house to propose marriage. Strive to get married within 2 months. Other girls' stomachs can't wait for you for too long. Upon hearing this, a blazing fire lit up in Yi Chen's eyes. Don't worry, brother. I will definitely do a good job. Wei Xiao nodded in satisfaction and continued. That studio you contacted, what did it say? They said that they didn't want to be acquired. But after some persuasion from me, they still agreed to a meeting. But they're from the Zhejiang province side, and their people are all in Suong. We might have to make a trip. Wei Xiao said with relief. Well done. Book a flight now, I'll go right away. I have other things going on lately. Get them done early so I can go do the others. Just stay in Magic City, plan the office area and buy everything you need to. Turn around and wait for me to come back, just find me for reimbursement. Also, the other 2 studios, hurry up. I understand, brother, you also pay attention to your health. Yi Chen said with some concern. Brother, you also don't tire yourself too much. Looking at her cousin being so busy, Yi Chen was also a bit unable to bear it. When these are finished, I will be able to rest a little. Wei Xiao sighed longingly. He didn't want to be that busy either, but he couldn't help it if he wasn't busy. Not long after, Xiaoli rushed back. After a brief chat with Xiaoli, Wei Xiao asked Yi Chen to make the purchases, while he himself took a taxi towards the airport. The location and contact information was sent to Yi Chen. However, since he was only going to meet up and have a meal, Wei Xiao didn't bring any other luggage with him either and went straight there. Magic City Hongqiao International Airport. Wei Xiao sat in the waiting area, waiting for the time to arrive. There were still 15 minutes until he boarded the plane, so Wei Xiao idly brushed his Weibo. What he didn't expect was that from the last time he swiped Weibo, several days had passed. But the matter of Jiang Hanying subsidizing poor children in the mountains was still in the list of the top this time. The positive social influence caused by this matter could be described as unprecedented. Even half of the entertainment circle had either actively or passively joined in. One by one, charitable fund associations sprang up. But compared to these, Jiang Hanying is the initiator. The reputation that Jiang Hanying received as the initiator simply brought her reputation in China to a new level. It brought her reputation in China to a new height. Other than these, Wei Xiao also saw a piece of news. That is, there were rumors that Jiang Hanying had already negotiated a script with the famous director Zhang. It was about to star in Huaxiao's first sci-fi intergalactic movie, Wandering Universe. Seeing this, the corners of Wei Xiao's mouth twitched. Why don't you go shoot Magic City Cannon? The Weibo that was swept away by the Jiang Haning incident also made Wei Xiao lose interest for a while. Simply put down the cell phone, closed his eyes and rested his mind. But Wei Xiao hadn't closed his eyes for a while. The seats in the rows were violently shaken. There was even a huge force coming from beside him, nearly pushing him out. Wei Xiao hurriedly sat down and turned his head to look. Only then did he realize that there was a young guy in his 20s beside him. However, Wei Xiao soon realized that the youngster sitting beside him. At this moment, he was staring at himself with a serious face. Looking at the other party's uninhibited as well as impetuous face, Wei Xiao froze slightly. Only after a long time did Wei Xiao open his mouth with deliberation. You believe in Huang? Yes, my surname is Huang. You're looking for me for something? It's not me looking for you, it's you looking for me. I heard that my dad asked you to arrest me back to see him? Wei Xiao looked at the young man in front of him and was finally completely sure was this his unlucky son from the picture that Mr. Huang had sent himself? But following that, Wei Xiao remembered again. Mr. Huang had mentioned it to him. This guy was a martial arts master. Once he thought of this, Wei Xiao immediately said with a straight face. You're wrong, how can that be arresting you back? It's that your father wants to see you. Just letting me come to persuade you. Of course, if you don't like it. I can't really tie you up either. Huang Yan said with a disdainful face. Just you? I'll let you have both hands and feet, you can't even beat me. My dad too, just found a guy like you. Want to take me back too? Wei Xiao was also curious. How did you know about this? Wei Xiao and Mr. Huang, but they were chatting on WeChat. Logically speaking, he shouldn't know about this kid in front of him. But who knows, Huang Yan was laughing, that's certainly what my dad told me. Chapter 82, Say It, Make a Price. Huang Yan's candor was something Wei Xiao hadn't expected. But on second thought, Wei Xiao understood. This was General Manager Huang worrying about himself, really being beaten up by his son At least after greeting him, the kid in front of him would really want to make a move against himself. I'm afraid I have to think about it. Wei Xiao guessed right, Mr. Huang did think so. But Huang Yan didn't think so. You're quite bold. So many people at home don't come to mind my business. It's only my sister who says a few words. You came to join in the fun? Seeing that Huang Yan's words were getting worse, Wei Xiao hurriedly said. I just promised Brother Huang to persuade you. And didn't say that I would definitely take you back. You called my dad Brother Huang? Yes. Then don't I have to call you uncle? Mr. Huang, Mr. Huang. Huang Yan also felt a pang of boredom when he saw that Wei Xiao was actually so cautious. Subconsciously, the corners of his mouth then rose slightly. I thought that my old man had found me someone much more powerful. It turned out to be just like this, no fun. After saying that, Huang Yan slowly got up. Alright, I'm not going back, you don't have to persuade me either. For the sake of my old man, I won't bother with you this time. This kind of job, you shouldn't take it in the future either. I am not going back. Faced with Huang Yan's words, Wei Xiao couldn't help but laugh. Then why are you refusing to go back? Also, your current food and drink aren't all from your father. What are you getting angry with him for? Huang Yan glared. What do you know? He just wants me to go back and take over his company. Is that a human job? If I really went back, then I wouldn't die of exhaustion. My sister fell for his trick and is now staying in Maple Leaf Country for a long time. It's almost like she's living inside the company. My sister is like this, if I go back, will it still be good? When Wei Xiao heard this, it inexplicably made sense. One could obviously be a loafing rich second generation, waiting to die. Why must one go back to the company to be the boss? Free to do whatever he wants every day, doesn't he smell good? You have a point. Hearing you say that, I also think you shouldn't go back. Huang Yan froze slightly and suddenly said seriously. You really think I have a point? Really? You can obviously be a dude with your skills, so why take over the company? If I had a father and sister like that, I wouldn't want to work either. Wei Xiao was telling the truth. If it wasn't for the sake of staying alive, why would he work so hard to spend money he also had to spend it in a justifiable manner, both to hide it from outsiders and to fool his family? If it wasn't for the sake of staying alive, Wei Xiao took the money given by the system. Slowly traveling around the world, experiencing the beauty of the world. Doesn't he smell good? Who knew that his words had touched Huang Yan deeply? He had been instilled with a thought since he was a child. An idea of taking over Dad's job in the future. But who had asked Huang Yan what he thought? You're right about that. I'm obviously a dude by merit, so why should I take over the company? The more Huang Yan thought about it, the more it made sense, and the young man's rebellious streak came up all of a sudden. No wonder my dad likes you, and plans to introduce my sister to you. You are indeed a good person. Wei Xiao listened and couldn't help but ask. And how do you know this? Uncle Lu by my dad's side and I have a good relationship. As soon as I received news about my dad, I ran to ask about it. Huang Yan laughed. My name is Huang Yan. If you're free in the future, let's drink together. Wei Xiao couldn't help but follow with a laugh. My name is Wei Xiao. Drink together if you're free. Huang Yan smiled, got up and left. Huang Yan came and went quickly. Until the other party left, Wei Xiao couldn't figure it out. How did he find himself? However, Wei Xiao thought on second thought, with Mr. Huang's status, position and connections. Huang Yan, this kid is naturally not an ordinary person, and it is only not difficult to find himself. Looking at the other party's distant back, Wei Xiao sighed deeply. On the importance of reincarnation. No, it should be more appropriate as my old chief father. After Huang Yan's little episode, Wei Xiao's airplane arrived. Interestingly enough, in Wei Xiao's previous life's world, there were no airplanes available for such a short distance, but in this world, he did. A short 25 minutes. Wei Xiao got on the airplane, and his position hadn't even been made hot yet. The place arrived right away. Well, that was pretty fast. Wei Xiao got off the plane and thought about not contacting Mr. Huang. Instead, he first contacted the studio side. Blue Moon Dog Studio? Wei Xiao looked at the name and subconsciously thought of a phrase. Come cut me if you're a brother? Shaking his head slightly, Wei Xiao made the call. Hello? Hello. I'm Wei Xiao, my cousin Yichen had contacted you before. Oh, I know you. Your cousin told me about it. Well, that's good. Look, my people have already arrived in Suwon, do you think it's convenient to come out for a meal? Yes, you wait a bit. I'm busy right now, I'll contact you later when I've fixed a restaurant. Do you see okay? Okay, I'll wait for your call. That's all for now then. After the other party finished speaking, the phone was hung up. Putting away the phone, Wei Xiao directly found a car and called downtown. He came to see the other party, so naturally, he couldn't let the other party treat him to dinner. The location, he would find. The other party only needed to be able to come. 1 hour later. Golden Joy Restaurant, 8th floor VIP box. Wei Xiao finally met the actual boss of this Blue Moon Dog Studio. Saying that he was the boss, the other party was actually only in his 30s, not very old. However, when the other party saw Wei Xiao, his reaction became even more intense. In his opinion, the boss who wanted to acquire his studio. How could he be 40 or 50 years old? As a result, he didn't expect to be so young. Hello, Wei Xiao. Hello, Qin Jun. The two of them shook hands briefly, and Wei Xiao started ordering. Qin Jun looked at Wei Xiao's calm and collected appearance. The original worries in his heart were unconsciously dispelled. He didn't know why, but he felt that the person in front of him seemed to have a sense of affinity. In addition to that, the place Wei Xiao picked and the dishes he ordered were also very sophisticated. The Golden Joy restaurant was considered to be one of the top restaurants in their area. Unusual people could not afford to eat there. All of this made Qin Jun couldn't help but look at Wei Xiao a little more. Not long after, the meals began to be served. Simply ordered some. I don't come to Suzhou and Hangzhou much, and I don't know the flavors you have here. I hope you can be more understanding on your side. You're welcome. Qin Jun looked at the table of gorgeous meals and was secretly shocked in his heart. On his face, however, he continued to forcefully pretend to be calm. I don't know, Mr. Wei, how did you come up with the idea of acquiring us? Actually, our studio, our profit has not been too good all these years. Have you really thought it through? Qin Jun opened the door and said, with no intention of trying to hide it. It was because he did not want to sell at all. The reason why he said this was merely because Qin Jun hoped to use this to scare off Wei Xiao. Tonight, to be able to come to eat this meal, it was really Yichen who spent a lot of effort. It was only after a lot of persuasion that he was willing to come. However, facing Qin Jun's sincerity, Wei Xiao was all smiles now. Originally, I wasn't quite sure how your studio really is. But now, from these words of yours, I have gotten the result. Go ahead, make an offer. When Qin Jun heard this, he was frozen. What the hell, what did I say? Chapter 83, China's Game Market. When Wei Xiao opened his company, it wasn't to make money. Can make money, then earn. Can't earn, that's better. That way, he also had a reason to keep investing money into it. So his requirements, naturally, would not be profit-oriented. What Wei Xiao is interested in is quality. That is, the quality of the studio's reputation, but also the quality of its team. With Qin Jun's character, the studio he leads, its quality, too, was enough to be glimpsed. This made Wei Xiao quite satisfied. But Qin Jun didn't know this. So he froze for a while before repeating. Mr. Wei, did you hear wrong? What I said was that our studio isn't very profitable. To be more precise, outside of expenses over the years. I just haven't earned any money. Qin Jun said with a serious face. Wei Xiao immediately laughed. That's fine, not making a profit is just certain aspects going off the rails. I'll figure out how to solve all these problems afterward. For Wei Xiao, today no matter what. The studio, it was a must to dish out. Of course, if Wei Xiao really dismantled the other party's studio. In terms of treatment, naturally, he wouldn't treat the other party poorly, taking the liberty of asking. Qin Jun hesitated for a long time before slowly saying. On your side, Mr. Wei, have you ever worked in the gaming industry before? No. Wei Xiao was unapologetic. After hearing this, Qin Junrun was dumbfounded. You haven't even touched the game industry and you're going to come and acquire my studio? But he didn't wait for Qin Jun to continue reacting. Wei Xiao then spoke. However, I already have some preliminary ideas. Recalling the direction of the domestic games in his last life, Wei Xiao's thoughts flowed like a spring, and without thinking, he said. I think that the people of China still have a love for martial arts. My intention, after acquiring your studio, begin to fully develop a domestic martial arts game. I think that this will be a milestone start. Wei Xiao spoke eloquently, but Qin Jun was worried. I said that, Mr. Wei. Have you really scrutinized the current market? No, what's wrong? Qin Jun let out a long sigh and thought to himself. Following that, he began the most basic work of explaining the industry. Currently, the game market in China is still firmly dominated by the gun battle category. Of course, these are all network online types. The single-player types, almost all of them rely on imitating foreign AAA masterpieces. Whether it's the plot or the mode, it's all based on imitation. Other than a few old immortal IP, the other types. That's simply a miserable word. Our studio is all independent and autonomous research and development, and although we've accumulated some reputation over the years, but it still can't escape this trend, it can only develop slowly and carefully. What you said, Mr. Wei, although it sounds very feasible at first glance. But in reality, every year, there are dozens of domestic martial arts games, a few of them. And the result? That's not even a hit. With these words, Qin Jun briefly described the game market in this world. China. It could be said to be quite accurate and hit the nail on the head. At the same time, it also allowed Wei Xiao to understand some of the basics. However, Wei Xiao didn't care. It was because the type of game he proposed towards was something that had yet to appear in this world. I can understand your concern. But my idea is something that has never been seen before. It's not that the people of the country are not interested in martial arts-oriented game genres. Rather, they are not interested in those martial arts games on the market. As long as we find the right direction, I don't think any of this will be a problem. Wei Xiao said, and began to describe a huge worldview. The Long Scroll of Taiwu. In Wei Xiao's description, a world filled with martial arts sects was slowly revealed to Qin Jun. In this world, there were 9 great demonic caves. Legend had it that a long time ago, the 9 devil monarchs within the Devil's Cave had swept across the continent, bringing about endless disasters. Many sects were slaughtered, and the martial arts in the Central Plains joined forces. However, it was still difficult to defeat the invasion of the 9 devil monarchs, and they could only retreat all the way. The whole of the Divine Kingdom was also suffering from the disaster. At that moment, a legendary master named Taiwu appeared. Afterwards, Taiwu's repelled the 9 demonic monarchs and sealed them in the Devil's Cave, and thus disappeared into obscurity. The male protagonist, on the other hand, was adopted by the legendary Taiwu clan as an abandoned baby. Afterwards, he gradually grew up and became the leader of the Taiwu clan. At that exact moment, the seal of the 9 Devil's Caves within the Devil's Cave appeared to be loosened. Not only that, the 9 great demonic monarchs within the Devil's Cave even sent out their former servants started to spread the seeds of the cult in the land of God, demonizing a large number of martial artists. The male lead, on the other hand, will start his own game in such an environment. Well, the general plot, that's pretty much it. However, the plot of this was still magically altered quite a bit by Wei Xiao. Mainly because Wei Xiao was worried about copying all of it, in case he made too much. It wasn't very conducive to his subsequent investment plans. It was best to break even, that way he could keep investing. At the same time, in order to prevent the idea from being stolen. When Wei Xiao was telling this story, every time he got to the key point, it came to a screeching halt. This made Qin Jun, who had his heart set on making the game, itch to listen. Mr. Wei, then what should we do about this Taiwu clan, the inheritance you mentioned? And the martial arts cultivation system, you said reading, and how is it? There's also those 4 books and 5 classics. What about the fact that it also increases the damage of martial arts moves? The Taiwu Shrine works to enhance the effects of inheritance. Resources can be collected, and how is that? Villagers also have bad guys and will kill each other. The main character. Qin Jun's questions grew as Wei Xiao described it. He had never thought that a martial arts game could be so complicated. But such a game. Yet, it really evoked his interest. Because it was too novel. Alright, Mr. Qin. My general conception, that's all. The rest, I think it can be after I acquire your studio. We can then sit down and talk slowly. After Wei Xiao threw out his sincerity, as well as his ideas. There was already not much of a rush. This was because he could see that Qin Jun had already had his interest raised by himself. Mr. Wei, I have to say that this story of yours. It does sound very developed, but the game industry. He is relying on a few points, either he has the skill or the idea. But either way, it costs money. What you're saying, I think it's going to take a lot of work just to hear it. When it's really done, I'm afraid that the investment would have to be astronomical. Qin Jun spoke very subtly. To put it simply, he was afraid that Wei Xiao would not have the money to invest. After all, just the worldview that Wei Xiao described was already ridiculously large. Wei Xiao was prepared for this, that is. Mr. Qin, have you heard of sandbox maps? Chapter 84, Emperor Xiao Wang goes to sea again. Wei Xiao was just a simple sentence. Qin Jun immediately understood. It's simply wonderful. This not only solves the cost of the map world. It also saves a lot of work. Qin Jun was in awe as he looked at Wei Xiao again without realizing it, a huge change had occurred. At first, he felt that Wei Xiao was just a rich second generation from a rich family. Coming over and wanting to acquire his studio was just a whim. But after some chatting, Qin Jun realized. Wei Xiao was really thoughtful. Seeing that the time was ripe, Wei Xiao also began to lay down the gauntlet. Regarding your studio, Mr. Qin, I briefly checked. According to my cousin's information, the price for wanting to acquire you. It's around the 2 million, 5 million range. Since he's not in this industry, he can't be too sure. But I'm putting my word here today. As long as you nod, $8 million, you can take it now. After that, you just follow me. In terms of input, I'll take care of it, you and the brothers under you. Just do the game at ease. Also, I'm already arranging the office building there in Magic City. As long as this side of the deal comes together, you can bring people to Magic City right here. As long as they are willing to come, I'll take them all as they are. In terms of salary, I'll give it at 1.5 times your current per capita. In addition, meal allowance, accommodation, fuel consumption, 5 insurance and 1 gold, and other subsidies. Also, all of them will be given according to the standard of civil servants. Look, can you accept this treatment? Qin Jun stared blankly at the treatment given by Wei Xiao, completely confused. Qin Jun had long done an assessment of his studio. At most, it would be around $3 million at most. Now Wei Xiao gave $8 million with a single mouthful. With this price alone, there was no reason for him not to sell up. And most importantly, Wei Xiao didn't buy his studio. He immediately dismissed him and his brothers. A lot of people who invested in games would buy some small studios. But often, in terms of personnel, not all of them would be retained, but there was none of that in the deal Wei Xiao gave. The entire staff could go to Magic City to develop, and the treatment was super high. This made Qin Jun completely moved. At least his own gang of brothers had something to fall back on. Mr. Wei, your conditions are too high, Qin Jun said somewhat sheepishly. He was an honest man, just one to do the game. For so many years, he had saved his reputation, but he didn't make much money. It was because he couldn't make money against his conscience. Facing Qin Jun's hesitation, Wei Xiao laughed. This is what you deserve, just based on your studio's reputation. $8 million, no less. If it's possible, why don't we prepare the contract in the next 2 days? Thinking around, Qin Jun was moved. Since Mr. Wei is so kindly invited, I don't think I have any reason to refuse. Facing the other party's response, Wei Xiao lifted his wine glass and laughed. Come on, cheers. Cheers. Wei Xiao had a very satisfying meal. The main thing was that negotiating Qin Jun's side made his pressure plummet. If Qin Jun was really dead set on not selling, he would have had a real headache. After dinner, Qin Jun went back first. On his studio's side, there were still things to deal with. Wei Xiao, on the other hand, commissioned a local law firm and went to prepare the contract. By the time everything was finished and he returned to the hotel where he was temporarily staying, it was already past 10 in the evening. Leaning on the large round bed of the presidential suite, Wei Xiao idly opened Battlefish Live. He hadn't been online for a few days, so he was just fine to take a look at this moment. However, as usual, Wei Xiao didn't go to Min's place first this time. Instead, he opened his stealth and went to Ah Shu's live room. Ah Shu was still broadcasting the previous survival game. Because it was never cleared. Crap. Don't. Big brother, I'm wrong, don't chase me. I'll chop you to death, you bastard grandson, you like to chase me, right? I want you to chase me. On the screen, Shu's game character was drenched in blood, yet he kept circling between the monsters. Holding a pair of watermelon swords in his hands, it was a formidable sight. Coupled with Ah Shu's passionate words, combined with the images of fleeing while turning back to fight the monsters, the entire live broadcast style was instantly filled with an inexplicable sense of joy. Wei Xiao couldn't help but laugh while watching. After watching for a while, Wei Xiao opened Feishan and said 2 words of thanks. At the same time, he prepared to ask the other party out for a meal. After sending the message, he re-entered the live broadcast room. On Wei Xiao's Battlefish account at this time, there was still a balance of more than $2 million that hadn't been paid off at this moment. Wei Xiao immediately swiped 10 Battlefish treasure maps for the person. Just by virtue of the fact that Shu had recommended these games this time, allowing him to find these studios worth the price. The gift was given, and for a moment, the entire live broadcast room was abuzz. The onlookers who were watching the action reacted the fastest and immediately started popping up screens. Crap, I came to the wrong live room. Isn't this Xiao Huang? Shuggo poker face ah. It was important to know that the gifts for game anchors were usually very small. There were times when a day's flow was only a few $100s. It was pitifully low, and there was no one female anchor PK to get more than that once. So in the face of Wei Xiao's gift, the water friends in Ah Shu's live room were really excited. But among them, there were also those who knew Emperor Zhao's name. Immediately began a reminiscent speech. This is nothing, Emperor Xiao directly swiped a luxury car for Min that night. Why, that's nothing. Emperor Xiao was stingy this time, just 10 treasure maps. Wei Xiao saw the last pop-up and smiled. In passing, he sent out another 10 treasure maps. At this time, he had been busy playing the game. On top of that, Shu, who had a live broadcast delay, was finally reacting. Thank you Boss Xiao Huang for the 10 Battlefish treasure maps. Thank you Boss Xiao Huang for another 10 Battlefish treasure maps. Boss Atmosphere, Boss broke the bank. Thank you so much, Boss Xiao Huang. In his entire life of live streaming, Shu could say that he had never encountered such a situation. In the past, the most he had done in a day's streaming was just around $10,000. That would already be high. The time when he had the most was on his birthday last year. He received $30,000 of water, but tonight, Wei Xiao alone contributed 200,000. How could he not be excited? But after the excitement, Shu also reacted. Because he saw the flying letter. I've seen those games you recommended, and now I've started contacting the studios. They should be acquired afterward. At that time, I may still need to trouble your side and help with the publicity. When you're free later, let's have dinner together. After reading the message, Shu instantly understood. It turned out that the human boss asked himself questions about the game. It wasn't to play at all. Rather, it was for the sake of being a gaming company. The highly shocked Shu looked at the live broadcast and hurriedly replied on his cell phone. No problem, boss. Just talk to me a day in advance if you see when it's convenient. There were too many people in the live broadcast room. Shu didn't dare to say it in person. He was afraid of revealing boss Xiao Huang's trade secrets, but when he finished sending the message and turned back. But where was Xiao Huang's figure? After searching for half a day, Shu realized the reason from the pop-ups. Yu Huang went to see Min again. Chapter 85 Exciting Horror Game. Wei Xiao didn't stay in Shu's live room for long this time. However, the news had already been spread. Because the Battlefish treasure map that was a site-wide notification. Especially if Wei Xiao had swiped 20 of them in a row. At this moment, Min was finishing a dance and sitting there to rest. But what came into her eyes was Wei Xiao running off to other game anchors. He went to swipe gifts. For a while, Min's heart was filled with thoughts. I Fei, this is out of favor. Emperor Xiao really still likes skilled anchors. It's really a big boss. The first shot is $200,000 to start with. It's over, Xiao Huang ran off to someone else. Min looked at the pop-ups, especially the last one in her heart. She couldn't mention how anxious she was. But on the surface, she could only pretend to be soft and say, what can I do? Min, who was busy dealing with the pop-ups while constantly anxious in her heart. At this time, she suddenly saw the message that Wei Xiao had entered the live broadcast room. Welcome Emperor Breaking Dawn to this live room. The large banner slogans had just appeared. The sadness on Min's face was like magic. It disappeared with a brush. Emperor Dawn's husband, you finally came to see me. I haven't seen you for a few days, I've missed you. Wei Xiao was able to tell. Min's words were said with the utmost sincerity. After all, in the past few days of his absence, Min's PK wasn't even good anymore. But what Wei Xiao didn't know was that during these days of his absence Min had spent a lot of effort. In order to figure out why Wei Xiao ran to the gaming zone. She would secretly go and watch Shu's live streaming videos during the day for the past few days. As a result, Min soon found out. The times Wei Xiao went to watch Shu was broadcasting horror games. In order to keep Wei Xiao, Min was also determined. Husband Xiao Huang, haven't you been very busy lately? I see that you don't visit me much. Also, I saw you watching other anchors broadcasting horror games before. Isn't that interesting? Facing Min's question. Wei Xiao casually typed. It's true that it's been quite busy lately. That game is really good too, quite a good domestic game. Min covered his chest and revealed a wry smile. Actually, I bought that game as well, and I'm going to broadcast it during the live broadcast. It's just the right time to spice things up, dancing every day is too tiring. The water friends in the live broadcast room immediately became lively. I like watching female hosts broadcast horror games the most. Broadcast now. Lights off, so bright it's not scary anymore. Amidst the arching flames of his water friends, Wei Xiao also laughed and typed. Then do you want to broadcast it now? Min deliberately hesitated before following. That's fine, I'm timid. You guys don't scare me. The water friends immediately assured. That's for sure. It's fine, I'm timid too. Don't be afraid, brother is here. Seeing that the fire was almost ready, Min immediately boarded the game he had prepared long ago. It was okay to say that it was a horror game. After all, it was doomsday survival-oriented, compared to the kind of game that was purely horror for the sake of horror. Relatively has been much better, it's just that once you get to some scenes, that kind of gore as well as a sense of oppression. More or less still some. Boys are okay, but some timid girls. That can suffer. The good thing is that Min has long been prepared, in advance of the trial game for several hours. Only then did he not let the live broadcast room make a joke. But even after trying it out for a while in advance. But the screams and fears that should have been there were not missing at all. Ah! Don't you come over. Don't bite me, don't bite me. Originally, Wei Xiao was not afraid to watch this game. But it can't be helped by Min, who screams twice in 3 to 5 minutes. You say that you scream, but you also like to cover your chest. This has an inexplicable sense of excitement. At the same time, Magic City. Inside the VIP box of the restaurant. Sunli was looking at her cell phone, looking in the direction of the gate from time to time. Seeing that the time was almost 11 o'clock, Sunli calculated Zhang Heining's work at hand should be almost done. Calculating the time, these two should also arrive. The heart was muttering in a low voice. The main door was suddenly pushed open. Sisterly. Xiao Wei was the first to rush in, happily rushing forward. Giving Sun Li a big hug. And the young girl wearing a duck-tongued cap and mask, followed behind and closed the door. Just from such a picture, those who didn't know thought. Vivian was the star, and Zhang Haining was the manager. Sisterly. Zhang Haining's emotions were much calmer, taking off her mask to reveal a sweet smile. Alright, all sit down. Sun Li greeted the two, followed by hastily asking the waiter to serve the food. Busy until now, hungry? Sun Li knew that the two had been particularly busy in recent times, and was heartbroken. You should rest when it's time to rest, don't busy your body for work. There's money to be made. Fortunately, it's not that busy either, sisterly. Zhang Haining poured a drink, still looking like she was full of energy. When Vivian on the side saw this, she was not happy. That's right, I was the one running around all day. You just signed autographs for the fans and chatted with the director about the script at night. You sure don't think so? Zhang Haining glanced at Vivian, exasperated. You think it's easy to sit there for an afternoon without moving and just keep signing autographs for people? Also, that script is just a first draft, a lot of places aren't perfect. I've spent a lot of effort to confirm these issues with the human director, okay? As soon as Sun Li saw the two, they were about to start bickering again. She quickly spoke out to mediate. Okay, both of you are busy. It's hard work for both of you. Xiao Wei immediately laughed. That's still not as hard as Sister Li. Well, what have you been busy with lately, Sister Li? Zhang Haining couldn't help but wonder, just busy with those things in the company. Sun Li was just about to open her mouth when the figure of a young man somehow popped up in her mind. With a secret sigh in her heart, Sun Li pulled away from the topic and said, That propaganda movie of yours, how's the shooting going? Now the entire tide of public opinion in the country can be pulled up by you. You don't even know how sensational this thing you did this time is. Sun Li said with a face of admiration. Honestly, tell Sister Li, how did you come up with this idea? It's simply brilliant. And that slogan, I heard you heard a friend mention it? You say you're a girl, why are you so straightforward? Facing Sun Li's reproach, Zhang Haining suddenly said with a straight face. Sister Li, this is really what my friend thought. He's a very noble person, the reason why I did all this time. It's also all because of his reminder. His intention was also just for me to do something useful. It wasn't to create public opinion at all. When Sun Li heard this, she became even more curious. When did you have such a friend? Zhang Haining couldn't help but blush. Just a while ago. At this time, Vivian on the side finally couldn't help herself. It wasn't me who said that. Magic City isn't exactly small. What do you say about that, mister? Wei Xiao, how can he buy a villa and become neighbors with you? How rare. Xiao Wei said with an astonished face. While on the side. Sun Li, however, froze. Mr. Wei Xiao? Chapter 86, Sudden Call. Mr. Wei Xiao? Sun Li had a stunned expression on her face. It made Zhang Haining and Xiao Wei, who were on the side, a little confused. Yes, Mr. Wei Xiao. Sister Li, are you alright? Xiao Wei looked at Sun Li in confusion. It's fine. Sun Li's mind raced, after repeated thought slowly opened her mouth. You guys are saying that little shadow slogan, and this donation. It's all from that gentleman called Wei Xiao, who came up with it. Yes, Sister Li. Zhang Hanying frowned slightly, puzzled. Sister Li, do you also know Mr. Wei? That Mr. Wei you guys are talking about, isn't he in his 20s? Clean and sunny looking, with a smile always hanging at the corner of his mouth. And very talented, can write songs? Listening to Sun Li's description in front of her, Zhang Hanying nodded his head for a while. But when it came to the last sentence, Zhang Hanying froze. What you said in front of you, Sister Li, is alright. But can he write songs? Then I don't know. Sun Li's heart tightened. Then there shouldn't be any mistake, it's him. How do you guys know him? Zhang Hanying stuttered slightly. This. What's wrong? It's not convenient to say. That's not true. Zhang Hanying was a little hesitant. The acquaintance between her and Wei Xiao originated from that car accident. Xiao Wei was also the one who had repeatedly instructed with her after that. This matter absolutely cannot be revealed to the public. At this moment, when Xiao Wei saw the situation, her eyes turned. Immediately rounded off the conversation. It's because of a chance encounter that I met. It wasn't a big deal. Then the two became friends. Xiao Wei's words were full of holes. A person like Sun Li naturally saw it. But she didn't ask much. After all, in her opinion, these were not important. Besides, who didn't have some little secrets? Since we know each other, it's good to talk. Sun Li was vaguely excited. He's a very talented person, and I want to sign him to our company. But I don't know why, but he seemed to be very repulsed. But now, since you all know each other, then this is a good thing. Sun Li was very happy. Originally, she thought that she was completely unattached to Wei Xiao, but who knew that her own top stream star, Zhang Hanying? Surprisingly, she knew the other party. But Sister Li. Zhang Hanying was still ready to persuade. He saw Sun Li seriously and incomparably say, I think that whether it's his image or temperament, both are promising. Plus his musical talent. As long as it's polished a bit, he'll definitely be another top streamer in the future. You turn around, think of a way to see if you can persuade him. Sun Li said, not forgetting to remind. Right, when you persuade him, remember not to mention me first. He seems like to hate me quite a bit. If you really can't, wait for him to come to the company. I'll let someone else take charge of him as well. Sun Li had already said this very sincerely. Zhang Hanying, however, couldn't figure it out. Sister Li, is he really that talented? Very talented. That song of his, in my opinion, is completely award-worthy. Though the singing still needs to be improved. But these days, where can singing skills be a problem? Don't worry, as long as you can persuade someone to come. Anything else, Sister Li, I can take care of it for you. Zhang Hanying and Vivian stared at each other for a while. Both saw shock in the other's eyes. After a long time, Zhang Hanying slowly said, Then let me ask him. But I can't guarantee that he isn't interested. What Zhang Hanying didn't say was that in her opinion, the odds were that Wei Xiao wouldn't care about this. Not to mention, Wei Xiao was suffering from cancer. He should, right now, be enjoying the rest of his good life, right? Zhang Hanying looked out the window, her gaze gradually dimming. So big. So shaky. So covered. Inside the live broadcast room, the pop-ups flowed through like a tidal wave. What didn't change was the frequent movements of Min covering her chest, though already white and deep career line. Being pressed back and forth by her slender fingers like this, it was unavoidable that it would startle a gush of waves. Even Wei Xiao, who had not been exempted, looked twice more. Finally, he still slowly typed. Let's stop here today. I'll see you again when I'm free. After saying that, Wei Xiao swiped 20 treasure maps and hurriedly slipped away. Where the fuck was this topping out? And Main, who was broadcasting the game. After a full 5 minutes, he realized that Wei Xiao was gone. Could it be that I'm too good? Mian looked at the 20 treasure maps Wei Xiao had given out when he left. He fell into deep thought. Half an hour later, Wei Xiao, who had taken a hot shower and returned to the bed once again. It had already returned to the state of a saint. These days, watching a live broadcast without some stamina. That really won't work. Leaning on the bed, just ready to rest and fall asleep, Wei Xiao's cell phone suddenly rang again. The incoming number was an unfamiliar number. Wei Xiao instinctively prepared to hang up. But the moment he pressed his finger down, a marvelous thought came to him. A marvelous thought violently exploded in the bottom of his heart. One should answer it. This thought came so inexplicably. Wei Xiao pondered for 2 seconds and followed his heart. Pressing the connect button. Hello? Hello? Wei Xiao frowned. Because the voice on the other end of the phone was very weak. Yet, it was somewhat familiar. Wei Xiao searched around inside his head and his face changed violently. Huang Yan. It's me. Are you in Magic City now? I'm not in Magic City, I'm in Suwang. Is there something wrong with you? Hiddenly, Wei Xiao's eyelids began to follow and beat furiously. Left auspicious, right evil. What he jumped was his right eye. I'm currently in Magic City. Is it convenient to stay at your house for a night? Don't worry, no one will know. As Huang Yan's words bubbled outward, sentence by sentence. Wei Xiao's right eyelid, however, jumped more and more. At this instant, Wei Xiao was completely caught in a dilemma. He knew that his premonition could be trusted. Moreover, it was almost certain that it must be correct. Shi Yun is telling me not to receive Huang Yan. That is to say, admitting him would be dangerous? Wei Xiao struggled incomparably. On one side was Chief Huang's only son. On one side was the hint of danger given by the talent. However, Wei Xiao hesitated for just a few seconds before making a decision. You can go to my place. My cousin is at home. Just talk to my cousin and say that I told you to go. But you don't stay at the villa tonight. At my villa, there is a basement. You stay in the basement tonight, don't ever come out. Wei Xiao herself was not in Magic City. If Huang Yan went to look for himself, it would inevitably be Yi Chen who would receive him, and the constant hints of Qi luck also indicated that Huang Yan had come here. It might bring a certain amount of danger. Then on the ground, naturally, no one could live there. It was good that his villa had an underground space, and it was several hundred square feet, large enough. The entrance was below the side of a stone pavilion in the backyard. Wei Xiao had paid attention to it when he bought it. The location was extremely inconspicuous, especially at night. Without walking up and looking, it would be absolutely undetectable. But after Wei Xiao's words fell, Huang Yan at the other end, after a moment of silence. Suddenly, he said in a morose tone. How do you know that something has happened to me? Wei Xiao was slightly stunned. Following that, his brain raced, and then he slowly said. I guess, you must have encountered danger, right? I can guess from your weak voice, plus finding me. I guess I was targeted by an enemy? Or is it Mr. Awan's enemies that have sought you out? Chapter 87, The Mafia. In the gloomy streets. Rats and cockroaches scurried uncontrollably, and a foul odor filled the air crazily. Huang Yan, who was leaning against the trash can, faced Wei Xiao's words. A moment of silence. Recalling the conversation with Wei Xiao at the airport at night. As well as the encrypted call with his father just now. After a long time, Huang Yan fiercely gritted his teeth. I believe in my father's vision. I believe in you this time. On the other hand, in the 5-star hotel in Suhang, Wei Xiao was again pacified for a while and provided a residential address. After temporarily stabilizing Huang Yan, Wei Xiao hung up the phone. However, the feeling of foreboding in his heart grew stronger. Gritting his teeth, Wei Xiao went to call Yi Chen. He briefly explained about Huang Yan's upcoming visit and what to pay attention to afterward. And Yi Chen also immediately noticed the problem and tensed. Brother, what's the situation? How does it feel? So scary? Wei Xiao took a deep breath. Don't ask so many questions, just remember, be careful. Also, after sending the person to the basement, you leave. If he can make it through, that's best. If something does go wrong, you can't get hitched. Wei Xiao's words were well thought out. No matter what, Yi Chen was innocent. If Huang Yan found himself, he would be able to avoid this calamity. Then naturally, everyone would be happy. But even if he failed to protect Huang Yan, then one must not smash another Yi Chen into it. As for what happens after that, Wei Xiao could only think of ways to face it later. In Wei Xiao's incomparable nervousness. Half an hour later, Huang Yan called again. I've arrived and am now in the basement. Your cousin is innocent, I've already let him go. Wait for me to get through this danger. Naturally, I will remember your favor. In the basement, Huang Yan leaned against the wall covered in blood, a medical kit beside him, bread, mineral water, gauze and other food and supplies were also piled up beside him. As for Yi Chen, he was also let go by Huang Yan. Huang Yan was a righteous one. After choosing to believe Wei Xiao, Huang Yan naturally couldn't make the move of dragging Yi Chen along. Moreover, Wei Xiao was able to accept him in the first place, and Huang Yan was grateful in his heart. It was only because Wei Xiao's reaction was too swift that Huang Yan was initially confused. Grateful or not is not important. The first order of business is to tell Mr. Huang about this. Wei Xiao said nervously. I've already contacted my dad, and his people will arrive in the morning. I'll be safe by then. Huang Yan said weakly. Well, then you take care of yourself. Wei Xiao finished and slowly hung up the phone. Inside the basement, blood slowly flowed along the ground as Huang Yan looked at the penetrating wound at his waist and abdomen. Gritting his teeth furiously, he took two thick and long steel needles. After sterilizing them with alcohol, he used the steel needles to thread the medical thread. Directly, he began to stitch up the wound for himself. Such a grim wound under such unanesthetized circumstances. The pain caused by such rough sewing craftsmanship. It was incalculable. Forgive Huang Yan for beating up his muscles and bones since he was a child, and his skills were outstanding. However, before such pain, he still whitened his face and the corners of his eyes twitched madly. Mafia. Smith. Huang Yan roared in pain, his gaze filled with a bloodshot color. At his waist and abdomen, the wound that was constantly gushing blood, but under his roar, it gradually stopped continuously bleeding. On the other side, Wei Xiao, who hung up the phone, immediately contacted Yi Chen. After learning that the kid had indeed left the villa and had driven past the hotel, only then did Wei Xiao gently let out a sigh of relief. Then, contacted General Manager Huang. Hello, Brother Huang? Little Wei. That kid in my house, he went to look for you, right? Well, he's already at my villa, but I'm not in Magic City right now. Brother Huang. Are you okay here? It's fine, small problem. It's really troublesome, but don't worry, it's just tonight. Early tomorrow morning, my people will pick him up. You don't have to worry either, those guys won't find you. Wei Xiao was finally relieved when he heard this. What he was most worried about was after harboring Huang Yan, those enemies would hold a grudge against him. Wei Xiao was just an ordinary person, being targeted by these dark forces. That would be too dangerous. Alright, you take an early rest. I still have to be busy here, so I won't talk to you much. Let's talk later if you're grateful. You're welcome, Brother Huang, it's not a big deal. Then you get busy first, I won't bother you anymore. On the other end of the phone, a beeping sound rang out. Wei Xiao was lying on his bed, but he couldn't sleep. And in the distant Maple Leaf country, Mr. Huang had a casual dress look, and in front of him were 4 transport planes. A heavily armed mercenary was carrying a weapon and entering the airplanes in a well-organized manner. Secretary Liu was quietly watching from the side until everyone was ready. Only then did he come up to Mr. Huang and spoke. Mr. Huang, the first batch of people are almost here. The second batch of people, is this the time to depart? General Manager Huang's gaze was clouded with uncertainty, not knowing what he was thinking about. Only his lips buzzed as he slowly said, Departure. Okay, the third batch of people. We're looking for people from the Dragon sect and some people from the Taoist sect. Both sides have sent some competent people, I think it should be enough. But... Speaking here, Secretary Liu hesitated a bit. What's wrong? Just say something. Mr. Huang's medium voice boomed out. It actually seemed like a thunderstorm had risen from the flat ground. This time, we are making such a big deal about making a move against the Mafia. I'm afraid we're breaking the rules. Breaking the rules? Those dead foreign devils ran to Magic City to lay their hands on my son. So they didn't break the rules? If that brat didn't have 2 brushes, I'm afraid that Black Christ's people would have really gotten their hands on him. As Mr. Huang spoke, the anger on his face grew thicker. Doesn't Smith want my son's life? I don't want more from him either, the lives of his 4 sons. I'll take them all. All of them are extinct, so it's fair for everyone. After finishing his speech, Mr. Huang turned around and walked towards the exclusive passageway. And beside him, the 2 men who had never spoken suddenly opened their mouths. Master, why don't we go? You guys go a chicken. If you 2 go, doesn't it make it clear that I'm the one who made the move? The Mafia are known to hire Black Christ's men to do it. Why can't I ask the Dragon sect and the Taoist sect for help? The 2 disciples looked at each other helplessly and stopped speaking. Alright, you guys go pick up that brat Huang Yin. Mr. Huang sighed softly. That brat, wild and accustomed. It's not a bad thing to suffer a bit and taste the power. Lest he keeps thinking that he's invincible as if he's invincible. He's also at fault for this problem. If it wasn't for him saying outside, none of Smith's sons are biological. How could that old undead man suddenly make a move on him? Mr. Huang said with hatred. Who knew that Huang Yu, the second disciple, suddenly opened his mouth and asked. Then Master, what the youngest disciple said. Is true? Mr. Huang sneered. Smith was made infertile by me 20 years ago. Do you think his son, could he be pro-life? Chapter 88, Eating Again. While the underground world was in turmoil, the world of normal ordinary people, however, remained peaceful. The next day, Wei Xiao got up early. It wasn't that he didn't want to sleep, but the quality of sleep was too poor. Although that heart-stopping feeling in his heart, after the end of the few phone calls last night, it had completely dissipated. But that sense of crisis, the oppression Wei Xiao brought. But it was real. The rich man's world, it's scary. In Wei Xiao's opinion, this was bound to be an enemy of the business world. The nasty tactics made. It looked like the bridge in the movie wasn't all a lie. Looking at his cell phone, Wei Xiao realized that it was more than 5 o'clock in the morning. Huang Yan had already sent a message saying that he had been picked up. As for Mr. Huang, he hadn't sent any message. After confirming that Huang Yan was fine, the huge stone in Wei Xiao's heart finally fell. He was really worried that something had happened to Huang Yan. If that was really the case, Wei Xiao didn't know how to face Mr. Huang. Getting up, he took a shower. With a hint of fatigue, Wei Xiao went to the law firm early. After getting the contract, Wei Xiao went to Qin Jun's studio without stopping. Blue Moon Dog Studio. Mr. Wei, you're here so early. Qin Jun was a little surprised. After all, it was only after 8 o'clock at this moment. He also did not expect that Wei Xiao would be in such a hurry. But Wei Xiao that was really in a hurry to return to Magic City. Well, hurry up and finish it, so I can also go back earlier. Wei Xiao squeezed out a smile and said. I still have quite a few things to take care of. After a few simple explanations with Qin Jun, Wei Xiao was then welcomed into the other party's office. After some confirmation of the contract and calling in a professional lawyer to do a double check, only then did the 2 of them completely finalize the contract. All right, Mr. Wei. I'll prepare the preparations in the next few days and turn around to confirm the number of people. Just go to Mordor and look for you. All right, give me a call in advance when the time comes. I'll pick you guys up. Wei Xiaoqian laughed. Afterward, Qin Jun also planned to invite Wei Xiao for lunch. But they were all rejected by Wei Xiao. After spending half the morning finalizing the contract, Wei Xiao did not stop at all and rushed back to Magic City. It can be said that he traveled day and night. Once back in Magic City, Wei Xiao immediately went to find Yi Chen. Fortunately, the cheap cousin did not encounter any danger this night. With the contract and his cousin, Wei Xiao thought and thought. Calling up the internal security personnel of Huazhou Courtyard, he then prepared to go home. With 7 or 8 security personnel escorting him, Wei Xiao finally had some confidence. It couldn't be helped that last night's events were really too disturbing for Wei Xiao. On the way home. Brother, that friend of yours. It's really a bit scary. When he came last night, he was covered in blood. The waist was even stabbed through. My soul was scared out of my mind at that time. Yi Chen was close to Wei Xiao and whispered. He didn't say anything when you left, did he? Wei Xiao asked in a small voice. No, he just said for me to lay low when I left. The other thing is, pretend you haven't seen him. Yi Chen shrunk his head and said. Wei Xiao nodded and stopped speaking. In his opinion, it was inevitable that Huang Yan was in danger. That was why his heart fluctuated so much when the other party approached him. However, afterward, Wei Zhao's sense of heartbreak quickly faded. Thinking about it, it should also be after Huang Yan came to himself. He had already managed to avoid his enemies and had not been discovered bringing a group of security guards to his own villa. Looking at the appearance of the villa in front of him, he saw that the villa was in perfect condition. Only then did Wei Xiao finally put his heart down. Sorry to trouble you guys. Wei Zhao's reason for finding the security guards was that there was a thief in the house. Immediately, a group of security guards immediately came out in a line and searched. But after some searching, it was naturally fruitless. Sorry, Mr. Wei. The security chief said with a face of shame. I think we might still need to verify the video before we can do so. It's fine, you guys just grab the investigation. Even though the lost items aren't worth much, I'm always uneasy in my heart. Thank you for your understanding, we will definitely give you a reasonable explanation. With a flurry of assurances, the security chief led the security guards away. Only Wei Xiao and Yi Chen were left behind, standing in the garden for a while staring at each other. Take me to the basement. Wei Xiao said with a gloomy face. Yi Chen hurriedly led the way. A few minutes later. Looking at the bloodstains on the ground, as well as a large number of scrapped gauze and medical supplies, Wei Xiao sucked in a breath of cool air. This matter, no one is allowed to say anything. Understood? Understood. But brother, how did you know such a friend? That Huang Yan is the son of a friend I know. This time, he found me. I guess it's also a helpless move. He's not an ordinary person, and he probably won't trouble me again in the future. Just pretend that this matter never happened. Wei Xiao let out a long sigh and led Yi Chen to start cleaning up the basement. The bloodstains as well as those medical scraps. It was natural to tidy up. It was busy until noon. Only then did the two of them carry 2 large bags of garbage and relieve the basement. But as soon as they came to the ground, Wei Xiao realized that there were guests in the house. Jiang Haining came somewhat suddenly. Or rather, she was just holding the mindset of trying. She came to Wei Xiao's place for a visit. She didn't think about whether Wei Xiao was really at home. However, Jiang Haining had just arrived. She saw the Wei Xiao brothers walking out from the basement. Mr. Wei. Looking at the 2 large bags of garbage in the other party's hands, Jiang Haining was slightly stunned. Oh, we just went to clean the basement. Wei Xiao handed all the garbage bags to Yi Chen without a trace. The latter immediately understood and shouted. I'll go throw out the garbage. After saying that, Yi Chen ran to the outside of the villa. In the garden, Jiang Haining took a look at the fact that there were only 2 people left, himself and the other party. Not knowing what came to mind, she actually squirmed a bit. That, Mr. Wei. How have you been recently? Well, I'm quite fine. Is there something going on with you here? Ah, there's not much going on. It's just that. Just what? It's just that I wanted to ask you if you have time. Let's have dinner together. Jiang Haining originally thought of asking Wei Xiao if she was interested in going to the entertainment industry. But when the words reached his mouth, they somehow changed flavor. And as soon as Wei Xiao heard it, it was dinner again. The string that was already taut in his heart just trembled. Let's not eat the meal. I've been a bit busy lately. Wei Xiao hesitated and fiercely remembered Huang Yan's matter. Huang Yan had only just left on the front foot, and the alarm hadn't been completely removed. He himself had the ability to sense danger, but Jiang Haining was not. Running to find himself at this time. In case he encountered any danger, what could he do? Thinking about this, Wei Zhao's face sank as he said. If there's nothing going on, you should also try to come to my place as little as possible. Jiang Hanying's expression was lost for a while, she didn't know why. She always felt that today's Wei Xiao, seemed to be a bit more aggressive than even usual. But following that, Jiang Hanying looked at Wei Xiao's side face. A thought suddenly popped up in her head. Could it be that his condition has worsened again? Chapter 89, Can't Make Good. Could it be that his condition has worsened again? Such a thought popped up in Jiang Hanying's head. When he looked at Wei Xiao again, it seemed that the unhappy look on the other party's face. It all had an explanation. It must be the condition, Mr. Wei was never like this before. Has his illness deteriorated to this extent? Oh my God, how could it be like this? In the young girl's heart, she was inexplicably a bit flustered. Confusing thoughts kept coming up and gradually began to go out of control. The maiden, who had always been strong, somehow. The tip of her nose was just sour. Well, I know. Jiang Hanying took a deep breath and said with red eyes. Then you must pay attention to your health. After saying that, Jiang Hanying left with a complicated expression. While looking at Jiang Hanying's red-eyed departure, Wei Xiao's heart was a lot more relaxed. Wei Xiao thought that Jiang Hanying was understanding his subtext. Unbeknownst to him, the other party was once again thinking the wrong way. This time, you should be able to stay away from me after all. Shaking her head helplessly, Wei Xiao turned around and entered the villa. It didn't take long for Yi Chen to go and return. Brother, it's all cleaned up. Well, good job. The matter of the Blue Moon dogs has been resolved. The remaining 2 studios. Seize the time and strive to take them all within 3 days. No problem, brother. It's us. Want to move out for a while? Yi Chen was still a little scared. After all, what happened last night was just too oozing. But Wei Xiao just slightly sensed it and shook her head. No need. Let's wait until there is a need later. Wei Xiao's words also reassured Yi Chen quite a bit. At this moment, Wei Xiao no longer had any sense of crisis. Wei Xiao was also discovering a problem in last night's events. That was that from the current point of view, his crisis sense responsibility. It was with an extremely strong warning effect. For example, Huang Yan's phone call, he hadn't even picked it up yet. There was already a clear premonition of good and bad. So Wei Xiao deduced that if he continued to live in the Huazhou courtyard, even if he was going to encounter danger, then it should also have reacted well in advance. In addition to this reason, the other reason was that Wei Xiao didn't want to be too counterintuitive. After all, he had just bought a villa and moved out before he could live in it much. It was quite a bit of here and now. It would be better to live there first. Moreover, Mr. Huang's side must have reacted. Those who did it to his son, I'm afraid that this moment should not have a good time either. For the next day, Wei Xiao didn't even go out, but instead studied the game at home. Mainly through some reports sent by Qin Jun, as well as some specialized data. Understanding the current gaming environment in the Chinese world. With just some preliminary understanding, Wei Xiao had already discovered the problem. That was, this world's Chinese games. It was simply several times worse than the situation he had encountered in his previous life. In this world, the hottest thing was not endgame. Rather, it was the handheld games. This world for leak harvesting Wei. That is simply everything. Simply summarized in one sentence, that is. You don't spend money, then don't even think about playing the game properly. Well, although Wei Xiao's last life in the world, handheld games were also so fucked up. But the Chinese game market in this world has taken this tradition and played it to the extreme. So much so that the end game, whether it's networked online or single-player games, there are almost no prospects to speak of. Most of them are mainly high imitation as well as follow the trend. For example, before the foreign countries in the last year came out a Western dartboard, domestic immediately appeared countless studios, began a large number of high imitation version. The price is even cheaper by more than 2/3. Although the quality of the game is a lot worse. But it can't help but be cheap. This is the world, the ecosystem of the Chinese market. Extremely sick. One or two do not want to seriously do the game. Either they were thinking of cutting leaks, or they were thinking of imitating and following the trend. The problem is really serious. Wei Xiao let out a long sigh and reached out to pinch his temples. The sky was getting dark, and Yi Chen's side was still stepping up to contact the remaining 2 studios. Wei Xiao thought about it and ordered a takeout for 2. The nanny would only come over to start work in a couple days. In these few days, he still had to deal with Yi Chen for a while before he could do so. Just as Wei Xiao finished ordering the takeout, not a moment passed. Mr. Huang, who hadn't contacted him for a day, finally called. Hello, Brother Huang? Xiao Wei. On your side, you didn't run into any trouble, did you? No, nothing's wrong. Huang Yan has been picked up by you, right? Well, he's in Maple Leaf Country now. I originally thought that I would let you persuade him to come back. As a result, I didn't expect that it actually worked. Hearing the other party's words, Wei Xiao laughed bitterly. But don't be like this soon. If I had known that Huang Yan was going back to see you in such a way, I would have really wished that it would have been better to just let him stay in Magic City. By the way, how is his injury? I heard my cousin say that his injuries last night were serious. It's fine, a little problem. I really thank you this time. I've pretty much taken care of things this time. When do you think it's convenient to come to Maple Leaf Country? When I do, I'll thank you properly. Mr. Huang said very sincerely. And Wei Xiao immediately said, I should. Wei Xiao was afraid afterward in his heart, but his mouth still said truthfully. Honestly, I was scared at that time though. But after all, Huang Yan was in danger. Now that I know about it, then surely I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. Wei Xiao's honest words also made General Manager Huang on the other side even more satisfied. Alright, you take a good rest during this time. Let me know when you're free later. I'll send someone to fetch you over. Okay, Brother Huang. The phone hung up in Wei Xiao's heart, a sudden sense of relief surged out. At this moment, Wei Xiao was clear. The danger this time was truly over. Maple Leaf Country, in a 40-story building. Inside the office on the top floor of the building, Mr. Huang was sitting on a leather sofa, with black-clothed bodyguards standing all around him. On top of that, there were 2 blonde-haired, blue-eyed Western youths kneeling in front of him. A few men in Taoist robes, as well as a few men in white robes, were standing on the side, their heads bowed in silence. Mr. Huang, who had just hung up the phone. The smile that was brimming on his face suddenly dispersed. What was left behind was a dark cloud. How is it that only 2 were captured? Elder Huang, this operation was too sudden. Smith's side also clearly had precautions in place. Capturing 2 is already not easy. One of the 4 heads of Dragon's sect, Long Yanqing, said slowly, Are you preparing to officially go to war with Smith, as well as the Mafia? Mr. Huang sneered. Hasn't it always belonged to a state of battle between me and him? Long Yanqing nodded slightly. It was just a small fight before. Everyone also knows that there is still relative restraint between you, Elder Huang, and him. But this time, you asked us to help and capture his 2 sons. This matter, I'm afraid it can't end well, right? Mr. Huang lit his cigar and took a deep breath. Only after a long time did he say, Wait for me to throw the 2 of them down from upstairs. Only then will it be considered that it can't be made good. On the ground, the 2 kneeling Western youths instantly panicked. No, you can't do this. My father will never let you go. The 2 Westerners, their mouths were speaking not fluent Chinese. Looking terrified, they terrorized the man in front of them. But Huangxi only waved his hand in response. Following that, he reached out and pointed in the direction of the windowsill, his gaze fixed. Do it! The window opened. The sound of whistling wind instantly leapt into the room. In an instant, the violent hissing sounds of the 2 youths. It was then completely obscured. Chapter 90, That's My Voice. Time passed quietly. Without realizing it, 3 days had passed. During these 3 days, Wei Xiao flew to Zhejiang Province and Xiang Province one after another. After spending a lot of words, as well as a lot of energy, Wei Xiao finally succeeded in negotiating the acquisition of the remaining 2 studios. He spent $5 million and $6 million respectively. Counting the previous Blue Moon Dog studio, Wei Xiao had spent nearly $20 million on the acquisition alone. But the money wasn't spent in vain. All the copyrights of the 3 studios, as well as the games under them, plus the various creative workshops, the progress of the games being developed, all of them were also bought by him in their entirety. Of course, even then, the actual value of these 3 studios was far less than $20 million. Yet Wei Xiao still offered a high price. This was his way of saying to these workers who had not forgotten their beginnings in a difficult environment, a part of his own heart. And after these few days, the bosses of the 3 studios, as well as the employees, finally, on July 8th, all arrived in Magic City. It was close to noon. Wei Xiao appeared at the airport with Yi Chen. The two of them were dressed in casual attire, looking rather casual. For the sake of work convenience, the flights booked by the 3 studios, almost all of them arrived around 11 o'clock. It was convenient for Wei Xiao to pick up the flight at once, without waiting for too long. Qin Jun then appeared with a dozen people. Looking at the other side, a group of people walked over in great numbers. Wei Xiao greeted them with a smile on her face. "Welcome to Magic City." Qin Jun, on the other hand, returned a simple hug to Wei Xiao. And behind Qin Jun, the group of young people who had chosen to follow. They were also finally meeting their future boss. Previously, when Wei Xiao went to Qin Jun's place to sign the contract, it was very low-key. Not many people had seen it. So at this moment, after realizing that his boss surprisingly, it was such a handsome young man, the reactions of the crowd started to become interesting. The few 2 or 3 girls couldn't help but look at Wei Xiao a couple more times. Just wait a little bit. The people from Kaguya Studio and also Sword Beheading Studio are probably arriving soon. Wei Xiao pacified the crowd. It's fine, there's no rush." Qin Jun had already known about Wei Xiao's arrangement, so naturally, he would not object. Not long after, the people from the other 2 major studios also arrived. It had to be said that due to the treatment offered by Wei Xiao was too favorable. The 3 studios, more than 80% of the studio members, all chose to come to Magic City. At one time, the workers of the 3 major studios, there were nearly 50 people. Looking at such a large group of people, Wei Xiao laughed. Today is the first day, it's sort of a pick-me-up for everyone. I've booked a hotel, let's all get together and get to know each other. Qin Jun from Blue Moon Dog Studio, as well as Tang Ling from Glow Knight Studio. There was also Cui Peng from Sword Beheading Studio, all nodding their heads for a while. Wei Xiao had long since cleared the air with a few people about these arrangements. Only those studio members who came along were not clear about it. At this moment, they heard that the boss was going to treat them to dinner. The employees naturally burst into cheers. Yi Chen, on the other hand, stood out at this time and arranged the crowd. Regarding the issue of what to do after the arrival of the personnel from the 3 major studios, Wei Xiao had long ago entrusted it to Yi Chen to prepare in advance. This included issues such as staff dormitories, meals, and catering. Yi Chen had long since made the arrangements. For today's pickup, Yi Chen even directly chartered 2 buses. After a few simple pleasantries, Yi Chen then led his staff and headed to the direction of the buses. Wei Xiao, on the other hand, drove a BMW and brought along the 3 studio bosses. On the way to the hotel, in the car, the 3 studio bosses, too, all looked at each other for a while. All of them were in the game business, although a few of them were not familiar with each other. But they had also come into contact with each other a few times offline. But sitting in a car as close as they were now, that was absolutely unprecedented. More importantly, the thought of everyone becoming co-workers next, becoming partners at work. The 3 of them couldn't help but feel a trance. Tang Ling, who was sitting on the co-pilot, was the first to hold back. "Mr. Wei, the next direction of our work. Is it to study that Taigu scroll you mentioned?" The 2 people in the back row, at this moment, also hurriedly pricked up their ears. After all, this was a big matter concerning the direction of their main work afterward. Unsurprisingly, it will be in that direction. But aren't you each playing your own games, and none of you are done yet? The 3 of them were dumbfounded for a while. Indeed, the 3 studios were before they knew Wei Xiao. All of them had their own direction of work and research. Then, Mr. Wei, what you mean is, finish the previous work first? Tang Ling asked hesitantly. That's right. Wei Xiao didn't cover up and directly said. Next, your 3 studios will work together. But in a 3-team manner. The first thing is to finish off your previous unfinished works. After that, only then will you work together on the issue of Tai Long Scroll. But in either state, for the most part, I won't directly interfere in any of your work. At most, I'll just provide some advice. For the rest, I will arrange for someone to take care of it. Wei Xiao's words caused the trio to be stunned for a moment. The 3 had thought that since they had all been acquired in one piece, then the top boss, naturally, would be Wei Xiao. The team, naturally, was also going to be disrupted and reorganized. But now, listening to Wei Xiao's meaning, the 3 teams will still be operating in the same way as before? And not only that, Wei Xiao looks like he's planning to be the boss. It seemed like he was planning to be a shirker? Cui Peng was also a bit worried at this time. Mr. Wei, listening to your words, you seem to be not planning to take over directly? Wei Xiao laughed. Don't worry, I'm still in charge. But I have a lot of things on my hands, so I definitely can't stay in the company every day. So, I'll introduce 2 people to you guys in a while. Plus my cousin Yi Chen. The 3 of them, afterward, will represent me and be in charge of your work matters. If you have any problems, you can talk to them. What they can't solve, you guys can come back to me when the time comes. Wei Xiao's words just fell. In the hearts of the 3, they all understood. With Qin Jun as their leader, the 3 people's expressions all became a bit downcast. Previously, Wei Xiao hadn't said that the work afterward would be taken over by his people. So the 3 of them could all be thinking Wei Xiao was going to manage it personally. Wei Xiao was busy driving at this moment. He also didn't notice the 3 people's complexion, which slightly changed. Right at this moment, Cui Peng, who was already worried. Finally, he couldn't help but open his mouth. Mr. Wei, what do you mean? Letting someone else be in charge of managing the game project? Wei Xiao, who was driving his car, heard this. In an instant, he reacted. However, regarding the concerns of several people, Wei Xiao was very calm. Whether it's not me personally managing it, everything in the company will develop and proceed according to my wishes. The worries in your hearts will not actually happen. Because in my company, there will always be only one voice. And that is my voice. Chapter 91 Wine Culture. Wei Xiao's words caused the atmosphere inside the car. It instantly settled down. Cui Peng was still about to say something. Wei Xiao then interrupted him. I hope the 3 of you can understand the reason why I brought in the 3 administrators. It's not that I don't intend to manage them myself. Rather, it's that I have too much on my plate. The 3 of them, too, will not necessarily stay in this position forever. Perhaps in the near future, maybe just a month or 2 from now, they'll be transferred. At that time, the management of the company, too, will change from them to you. Seeing the atmosphere gradually fall into place, on Wei Xiao's face, a smile also hung once again. In fact, it includes them, you guys. And everyone, including all the employees, are all executors. The goal of all of you is the same. Because all of you are accomplishing the direction I have set. So, you all work with confidence. The 3 of them, they are all very good at getting along. With this persuasion from Wei Xiao, in Qin Jun's 3 people's hearts, this made them feel better. And as the only female among the 3, Tang Ling couldn't help but look at Wei Xiao a couple times more. I believe in you, Mr. Wei. Wei Xiao felt the fiery gazes coming from beside him. He hastily stepped heavily on the gas. This damn charm, it's starting to work again. There were times when Wei Xiao really felt this charm attribute is really messing with people's minds too much. A good reception drink. Drinking it, it turned into a female staff toast. Qin Jun and Cui Peng's staff, there weren't many girls. But Tang Ling's Huiyao studio, it was almost all female. From 1 meter 5 to 1 meter 8. From 80 pounds to 180 pounds. There was practically everything. Under Tang Ling's beating head, the group of girls all began the steps of toasting. Alright, you guys are like this, I can't take it anymore. Wei Xiao laughed bitterly and dried the last small half of the cup. That's it for today, I have work in the afternoon. If you didn't drink, you can make up for it next time. Wei Xiao hurriedly found an excuse to dampen the enthusiasm of the group of girls. Yi Chen, who was on the side, started to take advantage of the opportunity to cover up. And Tang Ling was also sensible. After all, Wei Xiao was the boss. She wasn't in a position to go too far, and immediately greeted the girls under her command, stopping the toasts. Mercifully, after half a round of wine, Wei Xiao was also a bit dizzy. Brother, why don't you go back first? On the side, Yi Chen came up and whispered. No need, it's not a big problem. Wei Xiao shook his head. Although he was a little dizzy, it was not a big problem. And at this moment on the wine table, after not having Wei Xiao as a target, Zhao Kong as well as Zhu Ming, the two of them, appeared in front of people. In the introduction just now, Wei Xiao had already introduced the two to everyone. Moreover, Wei Xiao had also directly stated. Next, the three studios would be led by the three of them. As was the case with Qin Jun's trio in the beginning. The 50 or so employees below immediately appeared to have opinions. However, Wei Xiao was the big boss. Plus, the conditions that Wei Xiao had given them opened so high. It was naturally not good for them to lose their temper towards Wei Xiao. But for the unfamiliar Zhao Kong and the Zhu Ming duo, they were not so worried. The employees of the studio were mostly young people. At this moment, they also came up and toasted to the several leaders. Yi Chen's side was fine. After all, everyone knew that Yi Chen was Wei Xiao's cousin. However, Zhu Ming and Zhao Kong, that was a continuous bombardment. Wei Xiao sat on the side, quietly watching, not making a sound. He knew that what came next, Zhu Ming and Zhao Kong would inevitably have to face this. If it was said that they couldn't even cope with this kind of scene, then later on, if Wei Xiao really made it big, how would the two of them be able to pick up the slack? Even if they were given positions, I'm only afraid that they would not be able to convince the public. However, during the banquet, Zhu Ming and Zhao Kong did not disappoint Wei Xiao. Zhu Ming came to Wei Xiao's place this time after much deliberation. At this time, seeing the situation, he immediately became involved with a group of young people. Not only did he not get angry, he also seemed very easygoing. It was almost as if he was coming and treating everyone as good brothers. This made the group of young people instantly lose their initial dissatisfaction. Instead, they felt that they were like this, and seemed to be quite unorthodox. On the other hand, Zhao Kong, as an old man who was running for his 4th year, there was also his own way of doing things. He didn't choose to mingle with everyone. Instead, he used his strength and showed everyone a fact. In the previous company, Zhao Kong had a nickname: the God of Wine. Now, a group of half-grown youngsters met him. The ending was predictable. At the same time, Zhao Kong doesn't drink with everyone. He picks out the pricks and catches one. He drank them to death. After drinking down 3 in a row, he was as if nothing had happened to him. A group of young people, there were not many who dared to go forward. It was mainly because Zhao Kang's aura was too intimidating. Seeing a drink, many problems were solved. Wei Xiao, who was sitting on the main seat, had a trace of worry in his heart. Instantly dissipated most of it. This is really. Let people save their hearts. In the afternoon, Wei Xiao took a group of people and went to the company first. The company at this moment has already birdshot. Each workstation, standardized with a desktop, a laptop. Seats are all customized. The entire working environment has also found a professional designer. Reasonable planning at the same time, filled with a lot of green plants. The whole office environment instantly became much more lively. In addition to these, in terms of the dome and walls, Wei Xiao also found someone. A new wallpaper was put on, filled with an atmosphere of anime and gaming. Everyone, after arriving, were all satisfied. Looking at everyone's satisfied expressions, Wei Xiao looked back at the low-profile Yi Chen and revealed an approving smile. For all this work, Wei Xiao did a small half of it. But for the most part, it was still Yi Chen who did it. The current Yi Chen, with a week ago, there had been a sea change. Maybe it was for the family, maybe it was for the cause. The current Yi Chen was a little less oily and a little more calm. As for Zhu Ming as well as Zhao Kong, there was even less to say. In a moment, Yi Chen will take everyone to the staff dormitory. I've chartered a single block of apartments, the question of how to distribute them at that time. You guys discuss it on your own, just confirm it with Yi Chen after finalizing it. The afternoon and evening hours will be everyone's free time. Tomorrow morning, work will officially begin. Wei Xiao announced today's schedule with a wave of his hand. The crowd of employees also immediately laughed. Thank you, Mr. Wei. Not long after, Yi Chen left with his employees. Only Wei Xiao and the three of them, Zhu Ming and Zhao Kong, stayed in the company. The name of the company, I've already decided on it. It's called Domi Gaming. As for your next main job, it's still on leading the team. Currently, my plan is for Yi Chen to go lead Blue Moon Dog. Master to go bring Terra Nova. Xu Ming goes to bring Sword Chopper. Do you guys have any objections? Xu Ming and Zhao Kong shook their heads for a while. Seeing this, Wei Xiao was satisfied. Since that's the case, you guys go rest and relax today as well. For the work behind you, you guys might have to work harder and harder. Chapter 92, Everything is ready. After arranging things in the company, Wei Xiao left the company and called Lu Kai's phone. Lu Kai was the car salesman that Wei Xiao had met when he initially bought a car. At that time, Wei Xiao was very satisfied with the other party. At this moment, the company was short of people, and Wei Xiao had long had a plan. Hello. Hello, Mr. Wei. It's me. Are you busy right now? Not busy, not busy. Is there something you have to do, Mr. Wei? Indeed, there is something to ask you. Do you think it's convenient to come out and meet? Yes, I'll go over right now. Okay, I'll wait for you then. Wei Xiao and Lu Kai finalized the location and followed it with a taxi. Because she drank at noon, Wei Xiao had already lost her car to Yi Chen. Half an hour later, inside a cafe, Wei Xiao met Lu Kai, who had arrived in a flurry. Mr. Wei, I don't know what you're looking for me for. There's no rush, sit down first. Wei Xiao greeted the other party and sat down first. Following that, he looked at the other party for a few more moments. Currently in his company, the problems of the three teams had been initially solved. But many of the problems above the logistics, there was still not enough manpower. Although Wei Xiao had already released a recruitment advertisement, and the treatment was very high. However, he still needed a few trustworthy people to manage it. Although he had only met Lu Kai a few times. But Wei Xiao's perception of the other party is really good, and Wei Xiao had always been quite confident in his own vision. I've opened a game company, and I'm currently short of people in the logistics management department. Look, are you interested in coming to my place? Of course, everything will be favorable in terms of treatment. If you come, you'll be the head of the logistics department. Look, any ideas? This. Lu Kai was instantly dumbfounded as he listened to Wei Xiao's words. He also didn't expect that Wei Xiao found him for this matter. But, Mr. Wei, I'm just a salesman. Although I've been doing it for some years. But logistically, I don't know much about it either. You don't have to worry about that, I'll still be recruiting afterward. By then, there will be people to assist you. I'm just asking if you have any ideas yourself. Wei Xiao said with a smile on his face. Lu Kai's heart instantly surged with excitement and gratitude. Mr. Wei, what you said. Is it serious? Of course, do you look at me like I'm idle? No, I just think. It's so unexpected. Wei Xiao didn't rush, waiting for Lu Kai to ease up. Only then did he continue. I think you're an eye candy. In terms of being a person, you're also quite good. Reliable and enthusiastic, I appreciate that. So I think that with you managing the logistics department, you should be a good hand as well. Wei Xiao intended to recruit Lu Kai, besides being familiar with the other party. He also looked at Lu Kai's interpersonal skills, as well as his ability to read people. After all, people who could work in the sales line for so many years. Emotional intelligence is generally not too low. His company, most of them are young people. It was exactly the kind of person who could do things to manage the logistics. That would also reduce conflicts and friction. If Zhao Kong hadn't had to lead the team, Wei Xiao could have actually handed it over to Zhao Kong. And Lu Kai asked the core question after almost just a little thought. Going to give you a hand, Mr. Wei, is naturally no problem. It's just the treatment. With a smile on his face, Wei Xiao gave the other party a brief explanation of the treatment. Salary is issued according to the supervisor, and bonuses and year-end awards will not be less. Other various meal supplements, car supplements, fight insurance and 1 gold, all in accordance with civil servant standards. Specifically, I will push my cousin's FMS to you later. If you're not sure, you can ask him about it. Any other questions? No more. Lu Kai said excitedly. This was much more stable than him, a salesman. Although they sell, it's not uncommon for them to earn tens of thousands of dollars a month with good performance. But when the performance is not good, it is also worried about people. Now there is a job comparable to civil servants here. Lu Kai is naturally immensely motivated. After finalizing Lu Kai, Wei Xiao simply said a few words and left first. Report at 8:30 tomorrow morning, don't be late. Don't worry, Mr. Wei. Lu Kai left happily. Wei Xiao, on the other hand, had a car and called back home. Unexpectedly for him, Yi Chen was also back at this moment. Looking at the company's problems, it had basically calmed down. Wei Xiao thought about it and called out to Yi Chen. Little Sam, come here. What's wrong, brother? Yi Chen was busy handling all the work for the company's official opening tomorrow. Suddenly hearing Wei Xiao call him, he was also a bit confused. The company is officially operating tomorrow. I will hold a simple mobilization meeting. After that, the company is considered to be on track. Speaking here, Wei Xiao paused and said. It's also time to solve your and Xiaoqing's problems. Yi Chen stuttered slightly. Brother, you mean? Well, that's right. Prepare, it's also time to take you to propose marriage. You say hello to Xiaoqing. Also, turn around and go to the door with the dress attire, door-to-door gift and whatnot. You can go get ready. Talk to me if you don't have money. Yi Chen's face was so excited that his body vaguely trembled along with it. I know, brother. I'll go and do it right now. Looking at Yi Chen's anxious appearance, Wei Xiao couldn't help but laugh. Wait. What's wrong, brother? I've already reimbursed the company for this period of time, running water and all. A total of over $2 million was spent. Other than that, I plan to inject some money into the company. Count it as a company expense issue. You manage it. Wei Xiao said and pulled out his cell phone. Domi Athletic Entertainment Limited. This was Wei Xiao's current name, the first and only company. After removing the acquisitions, running water, overheads, and other issues during this period of time, Wei Xiao's mission assets, there was still more than $75 million left. All of this money, Wei Xiao didn't keep a single penny, and all of it was put inside the company account. The current company's belongings were supervised by Yi Chen. Even if Lu Kai came to manage the logistics department at that time. However, the financial department will still be managed by Yi Chen on a part-time basis. As he watched Wei Xiao put more than $70 million into the company's account, Yi Chen was once again shocked by Wei Xiao's large sum of money. Brother, you made so much from stocks? You thought those stocks of mine went up. It's all a joke with you. Wei Xiao made up a blind story and fooled Yi Chen. In his heart, he was sighing bitterly. I don't know, the matter of making money from my own stocks. In the end, he could still fool around for a few more moments. Alright, you go and get busy. After the mobilization meeting tomorrow, let's go over there in the evening. It's not a good idea to always procrastinate. I have other things to take care of lately. Alright, I'll tell Xiaoqing to go. Thank you, brother. Yi Chen said with a face of joy. He was truly touched. Associating it with the fact that Wei Xiao was doing all this in such a hurry, all for his own sake. Yi Chen was also secretly determined in his heart. He must manage the company well, for his cousin. Chapter 93, Direct Broadcast Fortune Telling? Half an hour later, inside the room. Host, Wei Xiao. Current remaining lifespan, 95 days. Wei Xiao lay on the bed and watched as his lifespan began to gradually decrease. In his heart, he silently let out a long sigh. Although there were a lot of good things inside the system. But for him, staying alive. It was still the number one priority. Following that, Wei Xiao slowly clicked on the system rewards for mission completion. The mission had just been completed the moment he injected money into the company. Ding! Mission completed, Foresight. Ding! Mission reward, extend life for 15 days has been issued. Ding! Mission reward, enlightenment attribute value increased by 1 point. The lifespans were added up, and Wei Xiao's remaining lifespan came to 110 days once again. In addition, the enlightenment value came to 3 points with it. Enlightenment, 3 points. Your ability to comprehend is inherently higher than normal people, and you will have an additional bonus effect when learning and touching anything. For this attribute, Wei Xiao was still quite satisfied. No matter what, it was more practical than the charisma attribute. After confirming this, Wei Xiao didn't immediately accept the new mission as he did before. He was prepared to take care of Yi Chen's lifelong matters before considering continuing with the quest. It was also a way to give his taut nerves a slight reprieve. Taking out a pen and paper, Wei Xiao confirmed the speech for tomorrow's mobilization meeting. Wei Xiao had no experience in running a company like this before. The good thing was that everything seemed to be going well so far. It's just that I don't know if it'll be profitable afterward or not. Wei Xiao frowned slightly, thinking about it, and pulled out a small book. On the book, all of them were his entire insights on the game, Tai Wulong Scroll. It was a complete and holistic copy of the version that Wei Xiao had presented to Qin Jun's few people. It was much more comprehensive and detailed. Wei Xiao silently looked at this complete version of the blueprint. After a long time, Wei Xiao began to think about a more in-depth question. System, if the company I invested in makes money, then how is this money calculated? Ding! All the profits you have earned by investing through the system's funds. Within 3 months, they all belong to the system funds and can be invested continuously. But it doesn't belong to personal assets. Oh. After receiving this affirmative reply, Wei Xiao once again fell into silence. There was no doubt that his game company could make money. But the money earned could only continue to be invested. Yet it could not be used on individuals. Unless it lasted for more than 3 months. Vaguely, Wei Xiao realized a problem. System, then if I don't use the money I earn, it's okay to continue investing with mission funds? Ding! Totally fine. At this moment, a question that Wei Xiao had never been able to figure out. It finally became clear. Inside the system mall, many things could be exchanged for lives. In addition to using one's life, one could also take personal assets. At first, Wei Xiao felt that the exchange price was too high. With prices of billions and billions of dollars at every turn, where could he go to exchange them? But now, if he makes money on his investment, then as long as he dragged it through 3 months, then can not go to the mall to buy things? As for the aspect of needing to invest, he could completely continue to take missions using the mission funds to fill it up. At this moment, Wei Xiao was enlightened. Put it this way. If the company makes money, it's not a bad thing. Then I'll have the funds to shop at the mall. If the company loses money, that's not a bad thing either. That way there's a rational explanation for my continued investment with the funds from the system missions. Wei Xiao took such a look and suddenly realized. It didn't matter if the company lost or gained money. He wasn't losing money at all. However, considering that the company made a profit, he had the money to spend at the mall. Wei Xiao gradually had an idea. Since being able to make a profit was a good thing, then there was no need to have to make the company lose money. After finishing his business, Wei Xiao was ready to relax. So he boarded the Battlefish. But once on Battlefish, Wei Xiao realized. Tonight's Battlefish homepage is actually an unrecognizable middle-aged man's live room. Somehow, Wei Xiao's heart just thumped. There's a problem. Looking at the title hanging on that homepage, live room, Wei Xiao vaguely sensed a hint of something wrong. Live fortune telling. These days, fortune telling can also be live streamed? Thinking this in his heart, Wei Xiao directly clicked in. The result was found. This strange live room, although not very famous, but the number of people online is really quite a lot. And all kinds of small gifts, but also very much. Master, keep counting. Yes, this is too divine. All blind what coaxing, I think it is a group of two just. Pop-up soozing, there are arching fire, there are marveling. There are also curses. Wei Xiao realized that this live broadcast room actually really is to tell people's fortune. Because, behind that middle-aged man, there was a banner posted. One-shot super fire fortune-telling. One round of ultra fire, $2,000 just for a fortune-telling? It's fine if it's accurate, but if it's not. For ordinary people, it would be a bloody loss. However, Wei Xiao had just had this thought in his heart. When he looked at the live broadcast, he realized that middle-aged fortune-telling anchor unexpectedly also looked over. Although he knew that the two were separated by the screen, they couldn't see each other. But for some reason, Wei Xiao just had a thrilling feeling. As if what the other party was looking at was himself. Evil. A cold sweat broke out in Wei Xiao's heart. It was precisely at this time the fortune-telling anchor spoke. I wonder which emperor has come to my live room with stealth on. Hearing the other party's words in his ears, Wei Xiao's sweat stood up. He did indeed have stealth on. But how did the other party know? Crap, it can't be? This can even be calculated? I think it's just nonsense, there's no such thing as an emperor. Yes, do you really think the emperor is a cabbage everywhere? Where's the trustee? Come out, I would like to see the open emperor of the tour look like. At this time, there are still a lot of water friends thinking that this anchor is a liar. However, Wei Xiao, who was lying on the bed, had a different outlook. He had a strong premonition. What the other party was talking about was himself. Shinshi looked at all the mockery and ridicule, as well as the skepticism in the pop-up screen. With a slight smile, he didn't care. He just probed out his index and middle fingers, and gently pinched at his thumb. Ha! This does not pinch. A pinch. Immediately, it made Shinshi's heart roar. Vaguely, he felt an invisible force. It was actually enveloping towards him. Broken his method of projection. This is the heavenly Tao. A ridiculous thought rose in Shinshi's heart, followed by a slow shake of his head. In today's society, where was there any heavenly Tao? However, it was able to break my deduction method. This person, he's really something. Shinshi had interest in his heart. Just then, an ultra fire appeared at the right time. Wei Xiao watched the live broadcast and was hesitating whether or not he should quit. Just then, he saw that someone was really sending rockets. Shinshi, who was on the live stream, immediately changed into a smiling face. This gentleman, I wonder what you want to count. Love, career, or destiny? The one who had sent the ultra fire was an earl. Hearing the master ask, the earl immediately typed fate. Hearing this, Shinshi laughed. The weird thing was that he didn't do what Wei Xiao had guessed. To have gone for this earl's birth date. Or perhaps asked for a video to see the face, palm, or whatever. Instead, he immediately closed his eyes and his lips buzzed. It seemed to be chanting something in this instant. Wei Xiao seemed to see an arc of light flash across Shinshi's brow. But when Wei Xiao fixed his eyes and looked again, there was already nothing. At this time, Shinshi also slowly opened his eyes. Letting out a light sigh, Shinshi slowly opened his mouth and said, This Mr. Earl. I see you, it's better to turn yourself in early. The moment these words came out, the entire hall was shocked. Chapter 94 Heavenly Chance must not be leaked. Wei Xiao listened to the other party's inexplicable words. His heart was jolted. At that exact moment, that Earl spoke once again. At the same time, it was also because of these words. The entire atmosphere of the live broadcast room instantly boiled over. Other than surrendering, is there no other way? Below the Earl's statement, countless pop-up clouds followed from. Crap, no way. The Earl is committing a crime? Oh my god, this is not fortune-telling, this is simply killing. Don't count, 5 in one night, each one is worse than the other. I wanted to do some fortune-telling, but now I'm going to stop. I don't want to eat a big bowl of jail food. Some pop-ups eyeing another victim. Oh no, it's the fortune-teller. Being given such a conclusion. For a while, the pop-ups couldn't hold their breath. Wei Xiao was also quietly watching the developments. Shinshi took a deep breath and slowly said, Misappropriation of public funds, if you turn yourself in. It can also still land a light sentence. But if you insist on concealing it, then I'm afraid it can't end well. Besides, you can find me today to give you a hang. I suppose there must be a decision, too. isn't it? Just as Wei Xiao was watching the drama. The Count actually admitted it frankly. You are right, Master. I don't think I should be able to hide it anymore either. I'll admit this with the company first thing tomorrow morning. Thank you for your enlightenment. Seeing this, Wei Xiao's mind was filled with thoughts. He didn't know if this was a play or not. But for some reason, he just had a vague feeling. Things, it seemed, were not so simple. Associating it with the kind of illusion he had when he first boarded the battlefish. Wei Xiao thought about it and quietly left. He couldn't possibly tell fortunes, even if the other party was really a divine reckoner. Wei Xiao also didn't want to count. His destiny was already different from normal people. Where would he be able to withstand such a calculation from the other party? It was also the moment Wei Xiao left the live broadcast room. The vague sense of oppression in Shen Qi's heart instantly faded away. Gone? Shen Qi sighed in his heart with an azure sigh. He had never thought that he would temporarily come to start a live broadcast to earn some extra money to supplement his family's income. Surprisingly, he was able to run into an expert. Not only that, but also nearly subdued his deduction method. The Emperor, his identity is extraordinary. Shen Qi heart silently recited these kinds of information after thinking about it. No more thinking. There was a cloud in the Tao, let nature take its course. Since today was not a formal occasion for the two to get acquainted, then there was no need to force it too much. Leaving the Shen Qi Divine Calculator's live room, Wei Xiao went straight to Mian's place. But in his heart, he was still curious about that divine calculator. At this moment, Mian. Coincidentally, he was also thinking about whether or not to go to the divine calculator's live room and count a hang. There was no way. The hottest topic on the entire station at this moment was that divine calculator. Mian naturally couldn't be exempted. Besides, she was also eager to do some math. The fate between herself and Xiao Huan, just how far it could go. Even if it didn't come to fruition, even if Wei Xiao could stay in her live room for a few more years, that would also be good. Perhaps it was a thought in her mind. Wei Xiao happened to be at this moment, and came. Husband Xiao Huang. As soon as Mian saw Wei Xiao enter the live room, the thought of checking out the room was instantly gone. When Wei Xiao came to Mian's live room, he didn't open his invisibility. In an instant, the pop-up screen was on fire again. Xiao Huang, quickly take me into the room check. Yeah, I heard that the divine calculator has already counted 5 unlucky people tonight. Where's the divine calculator? I think it's clearly a trust. That's right, cuckold, cheating, embezzlement. I wouldn't even dare to make a movie like this. I think it's a disaster. Through the pop-ups, Wei Xiao also finally understood. That divine calculator live room, why was it so hot? It turned out that the previous stories were all so powerful. To be honest, this instant, if Wei Xiao wasn't concerned about his actual situation, he would have wanted to do some math. On the other side, although Mian was also curious in her heart, but Wei Xiao was here, so she naturally had to consult the other party's opinion. Husband Xiao Huang, do you think people should go do some math? Facing Mian's question, Wei Xiao was already a bit curious, and at that moment, her heart moved. With that, she typed, "You go, I'll just take a look." Wei Xiao's move was also with the mindset of taking a look. Anyway, it was Mian who went to do the math, not himself. But what Wei Xiao didn't know clearly was that what Mian wanted to count the most, it was the fate between her and Wei Xiao. On the other hand, Mian got Wei Xiao's approval. Immediately, she happily started the checkup preparations. Not long after, Mian cut to that divine calculator's live room. At this moment, the other party's live room, too, was on fire after the Count had stated his crime and was ready to formally ambush tomorrow. Divine calculator Shen Qi's live room had once again come to the top. And at this moment, the one who was telling fortunes, it was none other than Xiao Bei, who had a PK with Mian. Master, help me with the math. When will I become a rich woman? In response to Xiao Bei's question, there was a burst of joy in Shen Qi's live broadcast. This time, Shen Qi was even too lazy to even close his eyes. Directly, he opened his mouth and said, "This lady, aren't you already a rich woman now? Driving a Porsche and living in a tens of millions of dollars mansion. Isn't that still not a rich woman?" Hearing Shinxi's words, Xiao Bei, who had the intention of poking at the other party, was instantly dumbfounded. She was instantly dumbfounded. Her family's environment was indeed very good, and doing live broadcasts was her hobby. But these, all belonged to Xiao Bei's private information outsiders simply do not know. But the man in the screen was able to accurately tell the truth. This made Xiao Bei instantly panic. A master is a master. It was me who was reckless. Although Xiao Bei didn't believe in these sayings of gods, Buddhas, ghosts, and the like. But she couldn't help it, this divine calculator in front of her was really a bit bizarre. This allowed her to instantly lose the idea of flirting and ridiculing, and said with a respectful attitude, Mian just came and saw such a scene. Heart also began to cannot help but some excitement. The other party counted so accurately, that is not an indication. The problem that he was going to calculate in a while, was even more guaranteed? Mian thought so, and immediately gave the other party a brush of ultrafire. Seeing this, Wei Xiao, who was hiding in Mian's live broadcast room, also instantly held his breath. He also wanted to take a look at this world. Was there really such a bizarre thing? But who knew that Mian had just sent out ultrafire? Shinxi, who was a live fortune teller, froze. Without waiting for Mian to open the question, Shinxi took the first step. This lady, you are trying to calculate the karmic and earthly destiny with one person. Right or wrong? Mian, who was about to open her mouth, immediately blushed with excitement. That's right, master. But Mian didn't have time to open her mouth a second time. Shinxi just beat her to it once again. Then you'd better change your question. The law of your earthly destiny with the one who is to be counted. I can't count. Saying that, a bitter smile also appeared on Shinxi's face. Originally, he thought that the person who had caught his attention had already left. Unexpectedly, he once again borrowed Mian's words so soon. It appeared within his live broadcast. Why, master? Mian had a puzzled look on his face. The pop-up screen even launched a group mocking attack, but despite this, Shinxi still refused to let go. It was only after a long time that he responded slowly. Heaven's secrets must not be revealed. Chapter 95, Master and Disciple. Wei Xiao always paid attention to Shinxi. When Shinxi uttered the phrase heaven's opportunity must not be revealed, the mocking voices in the live broadcast room were almost overwhelming. However, Wei Xiao did not show a trace of ridicule. On the contrary, his expression was incredibly grave. From a certain perspective, he with 6 points of lucky value. It was the heavenly chance that Shinxi was talking about. Because under the description of Wei Xiao's personal attributes, it was introduced like this. Luck, 6 points. Your life has been shrouded by an auspicious star, all calamities will automatically stay away from you, luck is nothing more than a family affair for you. This heaven-defying chi ability, coupled with the auspicious star shrouding your life and the calamities receding it, precisely corresponded to the Taoist saying of chi luck. Coupled with the fact that Mian had yet to speak, Shinxi had already guessed this fact that was on her mind. Wei Xiao also had to admit. This divine calculator really did have 2 brushes. Mian saw how Shinxi refused to do this fortune-telling for her. She could also only retreat and say, Then master, you calculate my fortune for me. Mian said with an expectant face. Shinxi did not refuse this time. It was just that his brows were still deeply locked. Closing his eyes, he pondered. A full 2 minutes passed. Only then did Shinxi exhale a mouthful of turbid air and said with a haggard face. This lady, your fortune together. From several days ago, it has already begun to climb. As far as you are concerned, a nobleman has descended from the sky out of nowhere. And brought you a fortune. Am I right? Yes, master. And after that, what about my fortune after that? After you. If there are no accidents, this kind of fortune, too, will continue for some time. Exactly how long? Speaking here, Shinxi's face became even paler. That depends on that emperor. Shinxi's words were very pertinent. But the pop-ups, however, were not buying it. Who doesn't know that the current Mian has a show emperor? Yeah, what's the difference between you counting and not counting? It's just that there's more preparation. I'd be fine if it was me. The people who already felt that Shinxi was a liar caught a chance at this moment. the frantic attacking behavior began. However, Shin-Chi no longer had the heart to be on the air. Alright, let's stop here for today's live broadcast. I'll come back live when I'm free. After saying that, Shin-Chi disregarded the reactions of the crowd of viewers. It was actually just like that he directly went off the air. With this maneuver, watching Mian was also stunned for a while. She was also about to have something to say. Seeing Shin-Chi leave, Mian could only sigh helplessly. She went back to her own live broadcast room. Wei Xiao was the only one who looked at the live room that had gone off the air. He was unable to recover for a long time. After Shin-Chi went off the air, he immediately sat down on his knees in place. Just now, Mian's second question, although slightly better. Yet, it still involved the emperor that he couldn't see through. Therefore, although Shin-Chi avoided the key points and took the silver lining to calculate the result for her, but also consumed a lot of energy. Not only that, the results that came out were also few and far between. This also made Shin-Chi cry and laugh for a while. Originally, the live broadcast was going very well all night long, but he had never thought about it. It was actually at the last moment that the chain fell off. But that emperor. One night, 2 encounters in a row. It also gave birth to many thoughts in Shin-Chi's heart. However, when he thought of the previous live broadcast, that strange feeling. Forget it, I don't think I'll encounter it again. Shin-Chi let out a bitter sigh and got up to walk towards the house. Pushing open the door, a picture of ancient colors and fragrances came into his eyes. The mossy ancient steps were entwined with incense. A few half-grown children, wearing vintage-style green Taoist robes. They were cleaning the Sanqing Hall. The appearance was quite handsome and cute. Master. The Taoist child immediately bowed his head and saluted when he saw Shin-Chi walk out. Well, longevity and longevity, haven't they come back yet? Shin-Chi looked at only these few children and couldn't help but sigh. Eldest brother and second brother have yet to return. The youngest Taoist child returned. Elder Huang told them to go and help, so I guess there should still be a few days left. Shin-Chi nodded slightly and followed up. Where is your third senior sister? Senior sister went down the mountain to fulfill her destiny. Asshole, I have a big Changzhen Taoist temple, do I need her to go out every day to make karma? But master, senior sister said that this time the 2 senior brothers' airfare money are all from her fawning. And, master. Our Taoist temple, no one has come to offer incense for several days. Shin-Chi slightly stalled. Only after a long time did he darken his face and said, Master is already thinking of ways to make money. But master, the meals during this period of time were all obtained by the senior sisters begging for money. I know. Shin-Chi threw out his right hand and went into the house without looking back. Only leaving behind a hall of little Taoist children. You look at me, I look at you. A face of helplessness and emotion. His own master is really as noble as ever. It's just that it's hard for the senior sister, Maple Leaf Country, inside a private sanatorium. Li Changsheng and Li Changshou, the 2 senior brothers, were located in front of a hospital bed. At the side of the bed, there was a sensual girl in her early 20s. The girl's eyebrows were like a painting, but her dress and temperament were quite mature and decent. In modern terms, that is a top imperial lady and at this time, is lying on the bed. Naturally, it was the old unlucky egg Huang Yan. But at this time, Huang Yan was not as arrogant and domineering as usual. It was low-key like a little chicken. I had something to do a few days ago and went to Rice. As soon as I came back, I heard about you. What a big bully. Huang Ling looked at her brother on the bed, her face a stern one. The cold light in her eyes was even like a sharp blade, making Huang Yan feel a raw pain in his body. Sister, you lighten up, the injury on my body is still not healed now. Now you know it hurts. Huang Ling didn't make a move either, just staring at Huang Yan with such a deadly stare. But not long after, Huang Yan couldn't take it anymore. Sister, I'm wrong, you lighten up After looking at her brother for a while, Huang Ling then withdrew her clear as a lake gaze. And it was only then that the spot on Huang Yan's body that had been tingling for a while got slightly better. Trouble 2 senior brothers. Senior sister Huang Ling, you're too polite to say that. Eldest senior brother Li Changsheng smiled elegantly. Although the appearance of still wearing a green robe in the year 2021 was rather strange. However, on his body, It was an indescribable sense of comfort. Huang Ling saw this and smiled faintly. I've heard that Uncle Shen's Green Zen Taoist temple has been through quite a storm in recent years. I think it's about time to renovate it. Li Changsheng was about to refuse, when his senior brother Li Changshou, who was on the side, spoke up. Then on behalf of Master, I'll thank senior sister Huang Ling for her kindness. Huang Ling bestowed a smile and gave a few more instructions with Huang Yan before leaving in a hurry. As Chief Huang's #1 booster in the business world, the affairs that Huang Ling had to deal with. It was beyond imagination. After seeing Huang Ling off, Li Changsheng then frowned at his senior brother. What are you doing? Li Changshou let out a long sigh. Senior brother, people are being kind, let's not push it away. But this? Have you forgotten about our senior sister, who is still out there in the world? This, that. Well, this time back, if Mr. Huang has any financial assistance. You should not excuse yourself either. In our Taoist temple, it's enough to have a master who is pure. If we're like that again, those few junior masters, I'm afraid they'll all have to starve to death. P.S. Recently sick, has been taking medicine, the state is actually not very good. But maybe it's 200,000 words now, and recently the tomatoes have given some more volume, and the friends who came to read it in the past few days have increased some more. To be honest, I am very happy, so after thinking about it, I still gave you an extra shift today. I was thinking of posting it with a reminder and a favorable review, but I think that would be too intentional. After thinking about it, I still sent it directly to everyone. Everyone is happy to read, happy to read. I'm also happy. In addition, some of the book friends speak really good, very interesting. So good at talking, so let's talk more. Thank you all for your support. Chapter 96, 996 is not there 996. Wei Xiao stayed in Mian's live broadcast room for a full half hour. Only after swiping the gifts did he quietly choose to go offline. There was no way, this stuff, as long as it was a normal man, he wouldn't be able to watch it all the time. It really couldn't be topped. After getting off the live broadcast, Wei Xiao got up and went to take a shower. Following that, he went to bed early. There were still a lot of things waiting for him to deal with tomorrow. 9 o'clock in the morning. Domi Athletic Entertainment Co. Under Wei Xiao's arrangement, the 15th floor was the office area for the employees. On the 16th floor, there was the logistics department, as well as the conference hall. Among them, Wei Xiao's president's office was also on the 16th floor. However, at this moment, Wei Xiao inside the office was holding a speech in his suit. To say that he wasn't nervous would be a lie. Wei Xiao had never given a speech in 2 lifetimes, so naturally he was a bit apprehensive in his heart. But soon, this emotion was suppressed by him. Because, Yi Chen's few people came to knock on the door. Brother, ready to start. Wei Xiao looked in the mirror and confirmed that his grooming was impeccable afterward. He slowly walked out of the office. A formally dressed Wei Xiao, less affable than usual, added a few more points of authority. Although he has not yet opened his mouth, but that kind of hidden between the self-contained system of the superior aura. It is already the first time to see the molding. In this period of time, under the habit of constantly spending money. Wei Xiao's personal mentality, state of mind, and just came to this world. It was already very different. Yi Chen followed Wei Xiao and accompanied him down to the lecture platform. Below were the managers led by Zhu Ming, Zhao Kong, and the backbones of the 3 studios. Behind them, it was filled with ordinary employees. There was no way around it, the conference room only had 20 or so seats. The ordinary employees could only stand and listen to Wei Xiao's speech. It was good that Wei Xiao's speech wasn't long. Holding the speech that was copied from the internet and polished by Yi Chen over and over again. Wei Xiao started the speech of the mobilization meeting with a passionate expression. When Wei Xiao mentioned, the company is not only his. When Wei Xiao mentioned that the company was not only his, but also owned by everyone here. The atmosphere completely boiled over. Wei Xiao was never a qualified capitalist. Most of the time, his visions were quite beautiful. If he could, he hoped that the employees who followed him could all live a little better, not only materially, but also spiritually. So that kind of 996 company system of exploiting employees, Wei Xiao didn't even bother to use it. He didn't need it either. It was also because his words came from the bottom of his heart. The reaction from the employees that was drawn was also incomparably strong. Under such a warm atmosphere, Wei Xiao first released the main work of the three studios as well as the goal of officially starting to work together to develop new projects 10 days later. Although most of the employees were not sure what the next goal was. However, they were still full of anticipation. After all, since their respective bosses had chosen to join Wei Xiao's company, it must have been well thought out. And in their eyes, the big boss in front of them, it was also very good. This could be seen in the welfare benefits of each employee. This kind of private company, as a rule, its benefits were all very outrageous. But Wei Xiao, however, distributed personal benefits comparable to that of a civil servant to all of his employees. How could this make everyone not be grateful? The mobilization meeting was also under such circumstances. It came to a successful conclusion. The morning passed quickly. Wei Xiao, on the other hand, was nestled inside his office, studying the market in terms of games. By the afternoon, the recruitment information that Wei Xiao had previously asked Yi Chen to post the formal application process also began. Due to the excessive benefits offered by Wei Xiao, there were hundreds of applicants from the logistics department as well as the property department, including the front desk and cleaning. Add up to hundreds of people. This was a bit unexpected for Wei Xiao. "Brother, I told you, the treatment you gave is too high." Yi Chen laughed bitterly from the side. "We're a company with a conscience. How can that kind of harsh treatment of employees work?" Wei Xiao said seriously. With that, he took Lu Kai and started to go to the interview. Lu Kai's logistics department, until now, was still only him. Thus, for this half a day, Lu Kai was also the most idle in the entire company. But now, this leisure was completely far away from him. Not long after, inside the parlor on the 16th floor, a batch of applicants began the process of applying for jobs one after another. Only what made all these applicants feel strange was, other than the young lady who applied for the receptionist, all the other applicants, surprisingly, there was not a single female. Inside the parlor, Lu Kai, who had sent away another batch of job applicants, it was also finally the one who discovered this problem. "Mr. Wei, how come all the applicants are male? Even the property and accounting are all male? I asked for it." Wei Xiao said with a straight face. "It's not like we're a beauty pageant company. What's the point of finding so many pretty girls? 2 girls at the front desk is more than I can handle." Wei Xiao was speaking from the heart. If it wasn't for Yi Chen's repeated requests, Wei Xiao had really planned to recruit a few male receptionists. The moment he thought about his damn charisma attribute, Wei Xiao couldn't help but feel a headache. God knows if there were too many girls in his company, what kind of scene will it be in the future? This kind of situation, that must be eliminated. Lu Kai wasn't clear about the situation. But looking at Wei Xiao's serious expression, Lu Kai still chose to keep his mouth shut. His boss had spoken. Then what else is there for him to do? In the afternoon, Wei Xiao recruited 4 receptionists and 6 cleaners. Plus the logistics department and the finance department also recruited 5 people each. The number of people wasn't much, but for a company that only had over 50 employees, that was definitely a lot. For the time being, Wei Xiao felt that it was definitely enough. After that, Wei Xiao would depend on the situation and see if he wanted to continue recruiting. At 5 o'clock in the evening, the company clock had just struck. Wei Xiao appeared in the office area on the 15th floor. Under Wei Xiao's establishment, the company's working hours, it was from 9:00 a.m. to 5:00 p.m. In the middle, there was a 2-hour lunch break from 1200-2:00. 6 hours of work a day. So at this moment, as soon as it was time, Wei Xiao came to urge everyone to get off work. "It's time, get off work early and go back." The employees were at the boss's move of personally running and urging them to get off work. There was also a confusion in their minds. However, Wei Xiao didn't give everyone much time to react. He quickly chased all the people away. He still had to bring Yi Chen to visit his future old husband in a while. There was no time to waste. But the employees, however, didn't think so. Those who had worked elsewhere before had never seen such a situation. Not to mention overtime, they can't even stay a little longer. There's no such company. There were also quite a few employees who stayed in the studio all year round, and they were also puzzled for a while. Like them doing games, isn't it normal to stay up late and explode their livers? Otherwise, in terms of time, where to catch up? However, the employees' heartfelt words were naturally unable to speak to Wei Xiao because very soon, Wei Xiao brought along Yi Chen. By the way, he had the security guards lock the company's gate. Brother, you're in too much of a hurry, aren't you? What do you know, the first time you go to the door, that's definitely the time to go early. If you go late, what will your in-laws think? Oh, that's right too. Not many minutes after Wei Xiao and Yi Chen left, the bosses of the three studios once again secretly appeared outside the company's gates. Chapter 97, Going to the Door. That's just 6 hours of work every day. When will we be able to finish the previous work? Cui Ping said with a bitter face. On the side, Xin Jun also felt the same way. With Mr. Wei's arrangement, we're only afraid of delays. Only Tang Ling frowned. I do think that Mr. Wei is particularly concerned about us. In a different company, which boss would treat his employees so well? This treatment, these working hours. If this gets out, I don't know how many people would want to come. Xin Jun and Cui Peng thought about it. This is still indeed this reasoning. But why is it that Mr. Wei is treating them so well? Their hearts, however, were so flustered. I think that Mr. Wei is good. It's just that this not letting us work overtime is indeed a bit troublesome. 6 hours a day, 10 days. The work will only progress by half at most. Cui Peng said with a sad face. Seeing this, Tang Ling pondered for a few seconds. I think it's better to talk to the brothers in the studio. Mr. Wei is so good to us, then we can't drag Mr. Wei down, right? If we really can't, we'll just work overtime on the weekend ourselves. If we still can't make it, then we'll have dinner after work. If you have an idea, come back and work more by yourself. Tang Ling's statement caused the two to express their approval, but Xin Jun quickly thought of a problem. Then what if they don't want to work overtime? Faced with this question, Tang Ling immediately said. Then the few of us, will just work more. This is supposed to be a personal will, we can't force it. Xin Jun added. Why don't we talk to Mr. Wei and change the time again? Right, why don't we change the time and change it to a 10-hour workday? Xin Jun and Cui Peng said together. But Tang Ling was dissatisfied. Mr. Wei set these rules. You've all seen how everyone reacted to this. If it's going to be changed back again so soon, do you think the people underneath can be happy? Besides, if it really works out that way, where will you let Mr. Wei's face go? This. Xin Jun and Cui Peng looked at each other for a while and quickly sighed. That night, I'll go back and ask my men. Me too, but I can't guarantee how many people are willing to come and work overtime. That's fine, we just have to try to do what we can. For the rest, I'm sure Mr. Wei will understand us as well. After the three finalized, they quickly left the company. On the road, Yi Chen, who was responsible for driving, was still a little nervous in his heart. The first time he met his future father-in-law and father-in-law, or in the case of making a mistake. Yi Chen, who was only 20 years old, his mood could be imagined. Don't be nervous, there's me. Wei Xiao looked at Yi Chen's forehead as cold sweat broke out. He couldn't help but comfort. Aha! Yi Chen took a deep breath and thought about this period of time. His own transformation, as well as his current work. The bottom of his heart also gradually gained some strength. I am no longer the same me from the past. Yi Chen continuously pumped himself up. Half an hour later, the two of them then arrived at the neighborhood where Xiao Qing's family lived. The gate guard saw the luxury car drive by, but it was an unrecognizable license plate number. It immediately pressed the red light. The car slowly stopped. Master, we're here for dinner. Building 16, number 15-02. The gate master hurriedly registered it before letting the two go through. Entering the neighborhood, it didn't take a while. Wei Xiao met his future sibling. It was already waiting downstairs. Why did you come down? Yi Chen looked at his girlfriend in front of him and said with some bemusement. I was afraid that you wouldn't be able to find your way. Xiao Chang laughed and followed with a greeting to Wei Xiao. Cousin. Ah, good. Wei Xiao's heart was bursting with joy, and he turned his head to Yi Chen. Take the stuff, go up. Yi Chen hurriedly ran to the trunk. Following, holding 2 bottles of 30-year-old Mao Tai. In addition, there were also 2 gift boxes of ladies' maintenance items, as well as birds' nests and red ginseng. This made Yi Chen immediately have both hands full of things. Wei Xiao did not choose to come forward to help. Xiao Chang was just about to take some away. Wei Xiao then spoke. No need, he'll take it himself. Consider it his sincerity. Once Xiao Chang heard this, she thought about it and also withdrew her hand. On the elevator. Wei Xiao thought for a while and said to the two. Your matter. Xiao Qing's parents aren't clear about it yet, right? No. Yi Chen nodded honestly. Xiao Chang, on the other hand, lowered her head with a shy face. Yi Chen had already explained to Xiao Qing during last night. Therefore the young girl was also aware at this time that the matter Wei Xiao mentioned. It was the matter of the child. Wei Xiao smiled faintly and thought for a moment. Don't say anything in a while. When it really comes time to say it, it's also me who will say it. Got it? Got it, brother. Yi Chen had listened to Wei Xiao since he was a child, coupled with the many magical means of his cousin over this period of time. It was also what made Yi Chen choose to trust unconditionally towards Wei Xiao. A few minutes later. Xiao Qing's home. Arrived. Dad, Mom, I'm back. Well, your dad is cooking, go help in the kitchen. When Mother sat on the sofa in the living room, pushed up her glasses and said without raising her head. This made Wei Xiao and Yi Chen, who were outside the room, a little embarrassed for a while. Wen Qing also hurriedly said. Mom, Yi Chen is here, along with his cousin. Well, you invited people in, why are you standing outside? Mother Wen continued to speak in a salty manner. Seeing this, Wei Xiao knew that today's meal, I'm afraid it wouldn't be good. When meeting parents, there are 2 types that one fears the most. One type is the one that picks all kinds of problems, constantly finding fault and actually sneering at them. One type is the one that doesn't pick any faults at all, as if you came and didn't come. Obviously, Mother Wen belonged to the latter. And from Wen's mother, Wei Xiao was also able to roughly guess. Xiao Qing's father, what kind of attitude is it? Bringing Yi Chen into the house, Wei Xiao immediately led the way and went forward with a smile and said. Hello auntie, I am Wei Xiao. This is my cousin, Yi Chen. Wei Xiao introduced herself while patting Yi Chen. The latter immediately said enthusiastically. Hello auntie. After saying that, he started to put things on the fruit table on the side. What are you guys doing? Only then did Mother Wen notice. The 2 of them, Wei Xiao, had actually brought quite a few things with them when they came. This action immediately aroused her strong vigilance. But as soon as she looked up, what met her face? It was Wei Xiao's gracious and kind face. In this instant, the charm value that had pitted Wei Xiao countless times. It was finally exerting a positive effect for once. The words of excuses that Mother Wen had prepared, looking at Wei Xiao's sunny and kind face, suddenly, she couldn't speak. This is too polite, you 2 kids. Wei Xiao also didn't expect that when Mother, who had rejected people 1,000 miles away the second before. Suddenly, her attitude was a little bit kinder. Hastily taking the opportunity to open her mouth, she said. It's nothing, my brother just heard about it. Uncle Wen loves to drink, so he bought a few bottles. Also bought some maintenance items, and tonic, to honor auntie. I hope you and uncle won't mind it. Wei Xiao's words were very public relations. It was not overly flattering, but also expressed the attitude of the 2 of them. But in the eyes of Mother Wen, who was affected by the charm value, this was the child who understood. The dissatisfaction in her heart slightly eased. Mother Wen looked at Wei Xiao for a few moments, followed by turning her head to look at Yi Chen, although Yi Chen did not have the same charm value as Wei Xiao. But at this moment, he was also full of sincere smiles. It is said that true feelings can move people the most. At this moment, this was the case. Adding to the fact that she had just been affected by Wei Xiao's charisma value. Mother Wen saw Yi Chen at this moment. She actually did not have the strong prejudice she had initially. You are Xiao Chen, right? I heard my family, Qingqing, mention you as well. Upon hearing this, Yi Chen's face smiled even more happily. Chapter 98 Cousin is very powerful. In the kitchen. Xiao Chang was washing celery with a nervous face. Dad, don't make a stern face. You led someone to the house without a word. And you still dislike me for having a stern face. Father Wen pretended to be dissatisfied. Which didn't come without a word, didn't I tell you to yesterday? Yo, you did say that? You clearly informed us. You're the best, Dad. Honestly, did you tell Mom? I saw that she wasn't too happy yesterday, I thought she wouldn't agree. Xiao Cheng asked in a sideways manner, if I didn't tell your mom, who else could it be? You don't even know, your mom was angry last night. Father Wen glared, and a wave of resentment grew in his heart. The cabbage that he had worked so hard to raise for so many years. It's about to be arched by another family's pig. Could he be happy? Xiao Qing since childhood is also intimate with his father, this time ran up. Hugging her father's arm was a burst of pampering. Dad, you'll be at the wine table in a while, don't be mean to others. Little Sam is brought by his cousin, you don't want to make people's cousins embarrassed. Okay, that's someone else's cousin. If he's not your cousin, why do you care so much? That's not true. Cousin Wei Xiao is very nice. He even gave Xiao Chen money to take me to buy clothes before. The clothes I brought back a while ago were all bought by Xiao Chen. When Father Wen heard this, he became even more angry. Didn't you tell me and your mom that it was all bought by your cousin? How did it become that Yi Chen bought it again? I wasn't afraid that you two would be upset. Poof. Father Wen huffed and puffed as he sliced garlic, simply ignoring his own daughter. Seeing this, Xiao Qing's eyes turned. Immediately threw out the killer. Dad, Xiao Qin came with a gift today. Oh. What gift? Is there a shortage of things in our house? Turn around and let someone bring it back, a college student. You're spending so much money. I'm too embarrassed to accept it. Father Wen said with a hard mouth and a soft heart. It's fine, I heard that Xiao Chen is now helping out in his cousin's company. The size is also managing things now. Look at the other juniors, how many of them are so motivated? Xiao Qing frowned as she spoke. But after thinking for half a day, she couldn't remember what Yi Chen had bought. Exactly how many years of Mao Tai? At that moment, she could only say. And let me tell you, the Mao Tai he bought was treasured for many years. Xiao Qing didn't understand this. But Father Wen did understand. What do you know, the longer the vintage of Mao Tai, the more expensive it is. He's a college student, even if he goes to his family's company. That's still not affordable, silly girl. Father Wen doted on his daughter and sighed. But Xiao Qing came to her senses. She had mentioned Yi Chen to her mom and dad a long time ago. But the Yi Chen at that time, he was not competitive. Oh no, it was the Yi Chen of that time. He hadn't followed his cousin yet. But since Wei Xiao appeared, Xiao Cheng also realized that this cousin he is very unusual. He buys furniture for millions of dollars and eats for tens of thousands of dollars at every meal. Can he be an ordinary person? Unfortunately, that was all later. Xiao Qing because some time ago, the cause of the accident. She hasn't dared to mention Yi Chen to her parents again. Last night when they talked about it, Xiao Qing also just said, Yi Chen is now helping out in his cousin's company. So at this moment, Wen's father and mother thought that Yi Chen was still a poor boy. Only to go to the company internship. Now seeing that his father was somewhat unable to look at Yi Chen, Xiao Cheng immediately took out her cell phone. After finding the chat records, she opened her mouth and said, I found it. Little Sam said it was 30 years of Mao Tai. After saying that, Xiao Cheng even proudly looked at her father. But when Father Wen heard this, his face instantly darkened. Asshole, how dare you buy fake wine? What fake wine, Dad? What are you talking about? Xiao Qing was also upset. Father Wen glared and huffed. Do you know how much a 30-year-old Mutai, the current market price is? A bottle would cost tens of thousands of dollars less. If it's well preserved, it's normal for a bottle to sell for $20,000 to $30,000. He's a college student, can he afford it? Father Wen spoke angrily. But Xiao Qing was not intimidated. In her opinion, this wine naturally wouldn't be bought by Yi Chen. After all, he couldn't afford it either. But it couldn't be helped that the person had a cousin. Didn't I say it, Dad? Yi Chen has a cousin who owns a company. He came today too. When Father Wen heard this, his frown deepened. Then this is also out of order. In Father Wen's opinion, the youngster came to the house for a meal. Where was the need to break the bank so much? Also, that what's his name cousin? The family environment is so good? Opening a company at such a young age? Father Wen was a bit unconvinced, but Xiao Qing said. Cousin Wei Xiao is very powerful. Thinking back to that day, Wei Xiao brought the two of them, himself and Yi Chen. The scene at the shopping mall where he purchased several $1 million of furniture in 1 hour. Xiao Qing also proudly said. Anyway, it's just awesome. I heard little Sam say that cousin bought the Sunset stock. It's all up now. Father Wen froze when he heard this. A handsome young man. Inside the living room. Without realizing it. The two Wei Xiao who were still standing. At this moment, they were already sitting down. Mother Wen also began to chat with the two of them in a parental manner. However, dealing with this kind of scene, Yi Chen was obviously not used to it. So most of the time, it was Wei Xiao who was dealing with it. In that case, your company has started to take off now? Yes, Auntie, although it's still in the research and development stage. But in my opinion, the current Chinese market, it's still promising. Mother Wen gave a burst of praise, followed by a sigh. But why go into the game industry? Wei Xiao smiled slightly. Actually, it's not just the game industry, I've also thought about other industries. It's just that compared to the others, this aspect of gaming, I'm a bit more certain. After all, to invest, it's still necessary to look for a relative certainty of earning money, isn't it? One mother was also puzzled. The game industry, is it really so profitable? Make money, as long as the direction is right. And the game is just the beginning, I may get involved in many industries afterward. Including real estate and such, which I also want to try. It's just that the money at hand is rather tight. This time with the company, I've already spent almost all of the liquid funds I have on hand. When Mother Wen heard this, she was also a bit dizzy. Although she and her husband were in the career establishment of a state-owned enterprise. But they didn't often come into contact with high-end topics like this. They were originally more conservative families. Where would they idly think about things regarding investing in real estate? Wei Xiao also did not intend to discuss these in depth. Seeing that the atmosphere was almost over, Wei Xiao immediately interjected. Actually, Xiao Chen is also very capable. I plan to have him follow me all the way afterward. When I get involved in other industries, he should take over some of my industries. As soon as Mother Wen heard this, she immediately looked at Yi Chen once again. After a long time, this future mother-in-law of Yi Chen slowly said. You really have a good elder brother. Chapter 99 Proposing Marriage. Yi Chen naturally agreed with Mother Wen's words 100 times. In fact, when I was a child, I felt that my cousin was different from ordinary people. His ideas were always out of the ordinary. I knew it at that moment. Seeing that Yi Chen got excited, he started to go far away. Wei Xiao hurriedly coughed twice. Little Sam, Uncle's side, it seems like he's still busy, right? When Yi Chen heard this, he immediately stopped. Following that, he got up and said. I'll go over and see if I can help some. After saying this, Yi Chen ignored Mother Wen's dissuasion and directly ran towards the kitchen. This action of his. Instead, it made Mother Wen a little embarrassed. This child is also really honest. It's the first time he came to my house, how can I ask him to help? Wei Xiao laughed. That's what's good about this kid, sincere, enthusiastic, and also truthful. Auntie, don't mind him. Saying this, Wei Xiao took the health products on the side. These red ginseng and bird's nests, they're all from abroad. I heard that these are especially suitable for beautiful women like you, Auntie, so I bought some more. Turn around and you try it, if you're satisfied. I'll ask little Sam to buy some more. This kid. Mother Wen said no on her lips. But her face was blossoming with joy. Wei Xiao watched the situation gradually improve. The heart hanging in her heart was also slightly stabilized. At the same time, looking at Mother Wen's happy appearance. For the first time, Wei Xiao also had a good outlook on the charisma value. Without this super high charisma value, Wei Xiao really didn't know what kind of attitude should Wen Mother have. But even now, the two of them were in a happy state. Wei Zhao's heart, too, still couldn't completely put it down. Because, he clearly knows, these are all just illusions. Once it comes to the issue of marriage, and it is a flash marriage, well, it's actually the issue of children, once it's exposed, then the picture may have to change. There is no pair of parents, after knowing that their own daughter is unmarried and pregnant, can still smile. Thinking about this, Wei Xiao could only pray silently in her heart. In a moment, the two elders, they mustn't turn the table over. On Wei Zhao's side, she coaxed Mother Wen to be happy for a while. On the other side, there was also good news from the kitchen. The dishes are ready. Living room, dining table. Mother Wen no longer had the cold face she had at the beginning. Instead, she greeted the Wei Xiao brothers from time to time and ate the dishes. This image made Father Wen's heart burst with wonder as he watched. His own wife was not like this last night. Thinking of this, Father Wen couldn't help but look in front of him. Looking at the two Wei Xiao brothers, his heart thought about what his daughter had just said to him. Father Wen couldn't help but let out another long sigh in his heart. Dad, I'll open the wine for you. Under Wei Zhao's eye assist. The clever Xiao Cheng immediately went and took out the Mao Tai that Yi Chen had brought. Father Wen just swept a glance, and his heart was stunned. Only this packaging made Father Wen, who was quite knowledgeable about liquor. He believed in 50%. When he thought about Wei Zhao's young age, he opened a game company. Father Wen also no longer doubted the authenticity of the liquor. And when Xiao Qing opened the bottle, from a distance of 2 meters, Father Wen could faintly smell the fragrance of the wine. This made Father Wen, who had never had any hobbies or interests in his life, but only a good sip of wine. He instantly revealed an intoxicated look. Yi Chen sat beside Wei Xiao. Seeing that his future father-in-law and mother-in-law were about to be taken down, there was also a burst of excitement in his heart. But just at this moment, Wei Xiao turned her head to look at him. No matter what I do in a while, you have to cooperate with me. Also, the attitude of admitting your mistake, remember to be more sincere. Wei Zhao's voice was suppressed very low. But for Yi Chen, it was as if it was a thunderbolt, instantly dispersing the fire in his heart. Yi Chen, who was still somewhat joyful, instantly composed himself. Vaguely, Yi Chen also guessed some of Wei Zhao's thoughts. Only, in his eyes, he was getting more and more determined. Good wine, good wine. Father Wen was holding the wine cup and didn't drink it. He just sniffed it from afar, his face all full of satisfaction. And on the side, Wen's mother was also a burst of hush-hush. Seeing this, Wei Xiao felt a little guilty in his heart. However, he came here today to propose marriage. Naturally, he couldn't leave behind this most important part. Uncle Wen, Auntie Zhang. Actually, my cousin Yi Chen and Xiao Chang both, in college, have been in love for a long time. Wei Xiao said frankly. In response, Father Wen and Mother Wen just looked at each other. In the end, it was Father Wen who spoke. We've known about these for a long time. That girl, after college, she became different from before. So perverse, often hiding alone in the house and giggling. How could we not see that? Father Wen spoke and was also sentimental. A woman is not a woman. Forget it, we've seen the people today. Nice kid, just a little too young. Although he is still in college, he can follow you to work in the company at such an early age. It also shows that he is a capable child. In the future, I think it won't be too bad. Speaking here, Father Wen looked at Mother Wen. Mother Wen also took over the conversation at the right time and continued. To fall in love, I'm not against it. To talk, then talk properly. However, after all, it's still young and can't go astray. After the two have graduated, if they are still willing to be together, at that time, we won't stand in the way too much. Mother Wen's words were very clear. Wei Xiao listened with understanding as well. Normally, if there was nothing wrong with today's door-to-door visit, this would already be a happy ending. But such an outcome, for Wei Xiao, it was unacceptable. The two of them, Yi Chen and Xiao Chang, that was even more unacceptable. After a moment of slight contemplation, Wei Xiao said with a smile on her face. I think that uncle and auntie are right. But I came here today, besides wanting to pay a visit to uncle and aunt. There is also a more important matter. Father Wen was slightly surprised and said. There's something else? Wei Xiao took a deep breath, knowing that without telling the truth, it was probably impossible for the two old men to agree. At that moment, Wei Xiao could only say stiffly. I want to ask uncle a question. I hope you cannot be angry. Father Wen stuttered slightly and followed you say. About the matter on little Qing's marriage. You too, are you hoping to wait until Xiao Qing graduates from college before we talk about it? Father Wen frowned deeply, and his tone plummeted a few points. That's for sure, she's only 20 this year. Getting married so early is too hasty. On the side, Xiao Qing also panicked when she heard this. Dad! You don't interrupt. Mother Wen, at this time, also noticed a hint of something wrong. I say Xiao Wei, this matter I and Xiao Qing's father. Both have already acquiesced. The two of them are still young, there's no need to be in such a hurry, right? One mother spoke quite nicely. But Father Wen had already guessed something. Wei Xiao saw that it was impossible to hide things. It could only say sincerely. I came. Today. Actually, it's to represent my cousin Yi Chen. To propose marriage to the two of you. I think that this time now is the most suitable. I hope that the two of you can give it some thought. For both of them. And even more so for Xiao Qing. The moment Wei Xiao's words fell, Father and Mother Wen's expressions paused. Following that, the pair of parents immediately looked at their own daughter.